Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
How do I want to answer the second one?
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. Got Devin Gordon with us
at Keene Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keene.
Sitting here with Sean Keene. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
What's going on? Monday, June 17th, 2024. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I am Jimmy here with Chris and Jay-Z. We got a great show planned for you tonight. We did originally have Daison Purlsey scheduled on for tonight, and I already see Bobby Blaze in here. I have a question for the guest. He had to reschedule. He got to North Carolina. He got surprised with a little bit of a surprise dinner celebrating his midget week win. So very well deserved. Go celebrate, man. We're going to try to get him back next Monday. Sorry for anybody who came on looking, but we still got plenty to talk about. All the USAC Eastern Storm action, of course, Wing 410 action from around here with maybe a little late model speed week, and we'll look at the week ahead. So, fellas, how you guys doing?
Awesome, man. Awesome. What a weekend. I'm going to have to take all week at work to recover. So long weekend, but just an unreal weekend of racing. I'll as I get older, the more I believe there's not a bad race at a dirt track. So I don't care what anybody says. I'm just happy to be there all weekend.
Chris, do you know anything about races? We can't even hear you.
You're muted. You don't even have your mic on.
Figure it out.
Got to turn the mic on. Button. Nope. Chris is not excited to be at the races because he doesn't go. So there's that. Good luck, Chris. Work on that. We'll talk to you later. Yep. Didn't hear that either. You can talk all you want, fella. Got nothing.
Okay, cool. So I see a bunch of yous in the chat. Randy Cop, how you doing, man? Absolutely agree. What a week of racing. Was looking forward to Daison's interview. Like I said, we're going to reschedule for next Monday. When he's not as busy, so that's cool. Let him go do his thing. I do have an idea. I'm going to run it by later about for you, Bobby. But yeah, just I'm also wiped out. a little bit. I don't want to say wiped out, but I only did 3 days. You only did 3 days too, right? You did Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I just did Baptist test on Wednesday night for an hour, and then the 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep.
I was gonna do Big Diamond on Thursday, and then when I figured that I was going to be doing at least Friday and Saturday, and camping out and stuff all weekend, I'm like, I'm gonna skip that. So, let's get into it. I guess I don't know what happened to Chris. I think he's trying to figure it out. He's having some technical difficulties.
I mean, you think you'd have it figured out. Well, this isn't our first time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, let's get to, if I could find it. Let's get to this past week, and we're going to start with Eastern Storm. It started Tuesday at Grandview Speedway, and this was a good race. Grandview's always puts on a good USAC race, and how about Briggs Danner getting the win? You called it last week. You said at Bridgeport. He did it a night earlier at Grandview. Getting the win there over Brady Bacon, CJ Leary in third. Thoughts on this? I mean, we knew, and Briggs, we're going to be talking about Briggs a lot probably as we recap this week, because he had a hell of a week. And I know I think a lot of people especially in the wingless world, but just in the sprint car world in general, know who Briggs is, but he definitely turned a shit ton of heads.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to someone last night, and I said, if you look at his Eastern Storm last year, and you look at the Eastern Storm this year, when we go through this week, the results aren't going to tell the story. But what I saw this year from last year was a whole different driver. And it sounds crazy because he probably doesn't feel that way. Maybe he does. I don't know. We were going to need to have him on too, but he's fairly busy. But whole different driver this year. I saw aggressiveness. I saw speed every night, making passes, driving as hard as the guys who drive hard, and seem to be in control at all times. So yeah, it'll be a common theme that we're going to talk about him a little bit. But this was a great race. Kind of what I expected. They do track prep every 13 minutes. Created for a good race. Briggs Danner gets the win from P4. Brady Bacon, you're going to have a common theme here. Pretty much all of Eastern Storm until last night. CJ Leary, Carson Garrett. So, and Logan Seavey in the top 5. And Logan Seavey, didn't have the greatest Eastern Storm. But when we get to the end of this, and we talk about last night, we're going to talk about Logan Seavey some more because wowzers.
And how about Joey, last week's guest? P20 to P9, really charged up through the field. Bummer for Alex Bright. I can't remember exactly what happened to him. But yeah, he started second and finished last. But yeah, always a good way to kick off Eastern Storm is at Grandview. Always ends up putting on a good show. Wednesday night, they moved to Bridgeport, and Bridgeport's a great, very underrated track. We talked about it a little bit last week just because of how the banking is. We thought it would be great for these cars because we saw what USAC East Coast did in person last year. Brady Bacon with the win over Kevin Thomas Jr. and Justin Grant. Joey, again, another hard charger from 16th to 10th. I don't think he was the hard charger, but another top 10 for him. He was really getting going this week. Hold up. Let's see. Hello. We got you.
Oh, shit. I'm here, boys.
Welcome back, my man.
Carry on.
Good to see you. But yeah, thoughts from this race?
I didn't get to watch this one. I don't know what I was doing.
Actually.
I saw the beginning of the night, but I missed the feature. So I don't have a lot of thoughts, but this is kind of how I would see this going. All of this makes sense. That entire top 5 makes a whole lot of sense to me. But yeah, Bridgeport, man, like I hope this was a great one. But looks like to me, who won this? Brady Bacon?
Brady Bacon. We'll watch the flow highlights here.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, I kind of know what to expect when I see this, but
Hold on. That it was only
Brad
the first 4 wide.
Brad doesn't want you here, apparently.
Huh?
I mean, I was just gonna say, hi guys, how you doing? When I left, everything was fine, and now you all just hate me. It's fine. It's cool.
We don't hate you.
It's cool.
I'm
Mostly.
trying to find the highlights here so we can take a look here.
It's not my fault the mic doesn't work.
Because this is one I watched them quickly on my phone at one point, but this is the only one I really like missed all week.
This is New
Which
Jersey,
is a bummer
right?
because it's New Jersey.
Yeah, we do not care.
We do care though. Bridgeport's lies.
I do
matter.
not care.
USAC, stop it. You're just angry now. Don't be so angry.
You all started it.
No, we're happy. We're happy to be
Yeah.
here. We were on time.
Very happy.
And our stuff worked.
I was not those two things.
Okay.
So I'm angry
so
now.
Brady Bacon starting on the pole and winning doesn't really surprise me. You put Brady Bacon in this racetrack, and then that top 5 again doesn't surprise me. Bridgeport is fantastic for these cars. It just that format. These guys did their job in their heat race to get to the front. So lined up, and you had the best cars at the front. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
Not at all. We'll go
Right.
in the. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just Brady Bacon from the pole, KTJ from 3rd, Grant from 4th. Robert Ballou 8-4 makes a lot of sense at a place like Bridgeport. Super cool, and I think Briggs broke a motor here on this one. I'm pretty sure he broke a motor at this race, from what I gathered. But was going to be in contention here. I think he started. No, he was 24th.
No, he started last and finished 23rd.
He broke a motor in the heat, maybe. I think that's what it was. He broke a motor early, but he timed inside the top 5, I believe, on Bridgeport as well. So he timed well, and he was going to be set up to be there. So yeah, not much else from that one. Didn't really watch it. And winner from
Brady, it's basically from what Tyler's saying here. Brady pretty much dominated, and the highlights I saw, that basically was it. So hey, you're gonna have those. Big Diamond on Thursday night. This was a pretty good race. Big Diamond's tricky, man. It gets wide enough, but it's so technical off of 2, the way it kind of like dips down, that like even if you're up high, you can't really hold it, because the guy coming up from the bottom is getting so much momentum coming up off the bottom, and it just never really fully widens out, it seems like. But it's still it's a cool track. I enjoy watching this race there. Logan Seavey with the win. After last year, he didn't even make the feature at Big Diamond, and then goes on to win this. Mitchell Moles in 2nd, Justin Grant 3rd, Briggs Danner, and Alex Bright representing PA, rounding out the top 5. And again, Joey, another top 10, 3 in a row there. Good for him. And Ricky Lewis, man. Ricky Lewis was in an underpowered motor. Did he had to borrow? Tyler might be able to back me up on this.
Yeah,
I think he had to borrow a motor,
like an ASCS 360, to be here this week and run a couple of these races. 25th to 10th, just wild.
Yeah, and he was he's a good talent from California, coming all the way out. He's not I don't believe he's a full-time USAC guy. He just came out for Eastern Storm. So he was running a 360. And you could get away with that there for sure. Tyler says Big Diamond was juiced up. Jaden Rogers went for a ride in the heat race. That one was pretty bad. Luckily to see him walk away and be okay. He ended up finishing 20th here.
It looked like a damn SpaceX rocket. That's as high as I've seen a car in a long time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, good for Logan. He's just so damn good. Just everything he's doing these past couple seasons in USAC is really mind blowing. You got to put him up in like the elite level company when it comes to him in USAC right now, all time. Just for what he's doing, Silver Crown, in the sprint car, midgets. So yeah, good. I think it was just cool for him to go from not even making the feature last year to winning this year at Big Diamond. Any other thoughts from Big Diamond? So we'll get into more of the meat here. These were all the races that we went to. So Williams Grove, Friday night. I did not think we were going to race, and I got to give a huge tip of the cap. Hats off to those guys at Williams Grove for getting this one in. This was not typical. Williams Grove would not have raced, I don't think. We got some pretty heavy thunderstorms, like 3-4 o'clock.
We did not.
You
It's your
did.
truth.
We did, Chris. I was there. It was raining. I was at the track.
I don't think you know what a thunderstorm is.
It was raining. It was raining. If my whole entire way down, I drove down. It was pouring rain. It was a friggin' monsoon. I got to the track. It was raining. Not very long, but enough to make the track pretty wet.
Did you hear thunder?
Chris, why are you so far off to the side of your camera? You're not even like on the screen.
He's just far off. All on
You're a mess.
This. Did you hear thunder, Jimmy? Not a thunderstorm. You're right.
All right, listen.
Whatever. It was raining, dude. It thunderstormed the entire way down, and then it followed me into the track. To the point where I wasn't even going to set up camp because I did not think we were going to get it in, and I was just going to go drive straight to
the matter is, a heavy drizzle usually cancels the place. Okay, right. Fact. It's just the way it is. Nobody thought we were racing. Nobody. And then it rained again. And then it rained again, and they still didn't cancel. And then they got started late. This shouldn't have happened. There was mud on those cars all night long, every division. And then some of the dust started to happen, and then that got hit with mud on top of the dust, and it became muddy dust or dusty mud. I don't know which one. It was a fucking mess, to be frank. And kudos for getting to racing because nobody thought they were racing. There was a lot of 410 teams that just stayed home that didn't have to be there, and they were like, "Nah, we're out." But I'm glad they did. It was fun.
Yeah, it when they went into the track then after, and you know, we got multiple people here, Chris, saying it was raining. It definitely was raining. Matt Bird said stopped raining when the gate or started raining right when the gates opened.
Can confirm that.
The track.
That's true.
I don't know what you're arguing.
You said
here.
Thunderstorms. I didn't hear no thunder. Ain't no lightning.
Oh my god!
And
well, it thunderstormed for me on the drive down.
Am I center screen now, Jeremy? Am I good enough for you?
No, you're not. You're not. But it's okay. Whatever. You're at least mostly on the screen now. So that's good.
But it was a hard enough rain where it made the track really muddy, and it took them a while to get the track ran in to the point where these guys they had to do USAC. They had to do 2 sets of heat laps each time.
Sessions or something. Yeah,
just crazy. To kind of get it run in. And it was fast, but you could tell there was a little apprehensiveness because, you know, if you can bike real easy in those things when it's heavy like that. And, but yeah, it ended up being a pretty good USAC feature. Heartbreak for Briggs Danner. He led this entire race and ran out of fuel in the last corner. And Kevin Thomas Jr. gets around him. And Mitchell Moles also got around him as well. Just tough for Briggs because you really thought he was going to get 2 wins there, his second win of the week. He just dominated. And we saw him pretty much absolutely just dominate the field at USAC East Coast last week. Jeremy, what'd you think?
He started running out of fuel with 2 to go, and he kind of got it to where he got it, and it just didn't run anymore. All 4 there, and they said they had it full to the top, and it was a perfect scenario for those cars to make power. He was in the lead the whole race. He was ripping around, you know, the cushion that there was pretty much the whole race, using a lot of throttle. And I heard 2 other guys either ran out at the start finish or were running out coming to the start finish. So they were at their lap count, and you know there were some yellows in this race. So you know the weather was cool. They were making power. They were taking a wide way around. They were using a lot of throttle. Doesn't surprise me, but man, does it suck because I don't think he was really going to be challenged. I mean, they were there, but nobody was like making an attempt to pass Briggs, and he had him covered, and it does suck. I'm sure Kevin Thomas Jr. doesn't, he's not upset about it, but He knows he knows he was he was a P2 at that deal, and Mitchell Moles, man, credit to him, he was there, he was on him, he very strong P2 for the longest time there. KTJ got by him near the end, so but I enjoyed this pretty much all night. The racing from beginning to end and watching these guys around Williams Grove is a treat. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was, even though it was kind of heavy, it's still, some of those cars were unrecognizable by the end of the race because of how much mud got caked up onto especially some of the cars towards the back that were behind everybody.
Was it raining pretty hard, Jimmy?
No, it didn't rain.
Sprinkled, as
sprinkled.
Brad said.
It rained. It rained pretty good. So here was my ordeal. So I'm driving down. I think I decided to leave around 3:00 or so because I'm like, I'm gonna wait, knowing how it goes sometimes, and I wouldn't have blamed them for canceling. It was the timing of it and everything, and kind of just the way the radar looked. It looked like they were gonna get hit harder than they actually did, but they still got enough. And the timing of it was just kind of like, man, I don't know. But I think it helped that there was 23 USAC cars and I think it was 18 410s. So no B mains. You had time. I think there were some cars that stayed away because they thought they were probably going to cancel. And credit to them, they got it in, and it was a great night. Had a, but on my way down, I have my truck all packed up with all my camping gear, and my tarp starts blowing off in the middle of a monsoon, and I'm out there. I'm absolutely soaked. And I pull in, I see sun to my left, and it's still just raining as I'm pulling in to the parking lot. And I'm like, I'm not setting up until I know we're definitely racing. And then the sun came out, but it took them about an extra hour and a half to get the track worked in. And they had everybody out there. It was more I want to say more effort. It was just the most I've seen them really try to get a race in quite some time being there. Other than, what was it, National Open weekend, right? Or was it Summer Nationals a couple years ago, or Morgan, one of the outlaw weekends where they were trying to run the feature in the rain. Chris, you look like you have thoughts.
No, I mean, the National Open weekend you're in question that you're talking about was when Lance led 9 laps and they called it because of rain.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird. And I get Williams Grove has this reputation. In that scenario that we were in, they'd pull the plug, but they didn't. And for once, they finally kind of did what us as race fans want them to do, right?
Yep.
The rain's coming, right? So either call it at 10 a.m. or wait. And they waited and they hit, and it wasn't nearly as bad as that radar looked, right? You were all day. You and I were going back and forth. It's going to hit us. And we knew there was a cell coming through right about 5:30. And it was just a matter of how bad that cell was going to be. Props to them, though, for sticking it out. And they made an end of it, right? The teams, and I think we see it with Port Royal. We used to see it with Lincoln. When you do that, next time it happens and the next time it happens, the teams are going to buy that. And the fans are going to buy it. Hey, we know they're going to not screw us over, right? And you kind of see it at Port Royal. When they have shady weather, everyone still shows up because they know they're going to do whatever it takes to get it in, unless it's truly not an option. I would say for sure the past 2 to 4 years, Williams Grove has not been that place, right? But props to them. They're changing, I think, the back half of last year and so far this year, they've kind of changed that narrative a little bit. We're going to do it. If it's feasible, if it makes sense, right? This was a spotty storm. You were talking about rain all day long. We could see it was going north, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was going straight across.
That's where I was coming from.
Right. You were coming from north. You could see north of Harrisburg absolutely getting murdered with severe storms, things like that. South had some bands, and we were kind of in that little pocket, right? And they risk it, and it works out.
Yep.
So I think that props to them for, risking it and seeing how it went. Props to the teams that did show up, and the fans. It was still a decent crowd, all things considered. But that's what builds trust. Where we get to July, August, and it's we start seeing that same weather condition, and Williams Grove's not going to be the one that bails out. it's kind of a weird paradox. So we talked about it. Like Lincoln for years was like, nah, if it's not raining at race time, they're probably going to race. Now Lincoln's like, hey, nah, 2 days early, we're going to cancel. And I get both sides, right?
Yeah.
I get both sides.
They should get commended for this. And also, every track's different. You know, Lincoln has a much smaller
And
track to have to get ready than
show's
Williams
different.
Grove does.
Every show's different. If this was the
Sure.
weekly Williams Grove show, I don't think we see a race Friday night. If it was say this week, I know it's Yellow Bridges race, fireworks, Summer Series, 58s. That same weather pattern this week, I don't think we see a race. I don't blame them one bit for it, right?
Mhm.
But being a national series coming in, if USAC's not pulling the plug, props to them. They made the best of it, and I don't think the racing suffered. I think it was a lot of teams played the hand they were dealt and made a decent show out of it.
You're not wrong on Williams Grove being commended for this, but I don't think the crowd was very good. I do think they were kept away because of history, and I do think they were kept away because they knew they could watch it on TV if they did want to stay home.
Right.
And honestly, if it wasn't USAC, I would have stayed home and watched it on Dirt Vision because
Because of the trust.
their history says I'm going to go up there, drive an hour, and not watch a race. I can
That's
do other
the
things
trust
on a
part,
Friday
though.
night. It
That's the
is,
trust
but I'm
part.
just saying. But they lost money this weekend.
You're going to have to
They lost
bite the
money.
bullet to
They
undo
lost money, but
2 to
Chris-
5 years worth of.
No, they
Weird
don't have to
decisions.
because it's a financial decision, and they're going to cancel more often than they're not. You just said it yourself. If it wasn't USAC,
Right.
they would have. But they have a big show in town with bigger payout, and they didn't cancel, and they lost money. So I'm telling you, don't get used to it.
How many times have Jimmy and I been in the parking lot? And it's similar weather, Jimmy. Like last year, I met you in the campground in the very same exact weather pattern. I got there, the rain stopped. We knew it was coming at 3:00. The rain stops, and they canceled. It's like, what the hell are we doing?
Water table is too high.
That's what gets them in trouble, quote unquote. Like, make a decision early, or don't.
They've by 3 or
They've
3:30.
been very great about it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, a scenario like Friday, I agree with both of you. Years past, they cancel 11 a.m. Probably at the latest.
Or at 5:00 when that rain is hitting.
No, it's not at the latest. 3:00's the latest they cancel. Or you get there at thunderstorms and they send you home.
Right.
They're either going to at 3:00. They're
you're-
deciding if they're going to commit. That's what they've been doing. 3:30.
All I've ever asked from any track is once you commit, and that's what Williams Grove has done. That's what if you're going to commit to spotty thunderstorms in the summertime, commit to it. If you know that shit's coming at 3:00, you're gonna get hit at 5. Commit to getting that event. Don't cancel as soon as it hits when you can see the freaking radar that knows you're getting center punched at 5:30.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all we've ever asked.
Yes, I agree with you, Chris, and I also do think it builds trust in the future. It can definitely build trust in the future where we're gonna have more, like you're saying, we're gonna have more nights like this. It's summertime in Pennsylvania. You're gonna get those late afternoon thunderstorms. Depending on how hard they hit and when they hit, will depend on if you could actually race. And you know, Williams Grove does this good job of scheduling where they don't have too many B mains unless it's like a big race. Just kind of what they schedule with each other and you know whatever. And that's honestly fine because then you don't have to worry about all that extra time that you need to get everybody qualified. And that could kind of help with something like this. I think it helped because even though we had about an hour and a half rain delay and we didn't really get anything started till like after 8:00, we were still done by 11, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like and
give or take, yeah.
That's fine. I think that was perfectly fine. So I got to give them a lot of credit because I did not think I was apprehensive about driving all the way down and camping out, and I figured my word because I was going to Port the next day. I'm like, well, if they cancel, I'll just drive over to Port and go camp. But
I get the people that didn't go.
I wasn't in the same boat as a normal fan that was looking to be like, well, it's Williams Grove, they're going to cancel.
I see it both ways.
The diehards are going to show up. It's the casuals that don't know there was no shot they were going to go. No shot. Right. The diehards paid attention and said, if they're racing, I'm going.
Yes.
Otherwise, even
you didn't show up.
And even Jimmy, let's be frank, Jimmy, you didn't commit to going until Brett Perigo and the Perigo clan committed to going. And you were watching the radar too. We were talking about all day long. We were going back and forth. And you actually bailed at one point. But once the Perigos decided to go, and you saw the radar, you're like,
when
hey,
I asked them, I said, I don't know what to do exactly. And I was talking to Brett. I'm like, are you guys going? He's like, yeah, we left at 2:30. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going then. Because if they're going to drive all the way out, then I have a good shot. I have a good feeling that they're going to try to get this in because they know pretty well, too.
And also, on the same token, if you did get all the way down here, there's things for us to do if they were to cancel.
True.
So, like, there's that little consolation prize, right?
Yeah.
So, but I get the casual that doesn't want to commit to that, and it's Williams Grove's job to change that trust, right? And I think they did some of that on Friday. And they have to keep doing it. You don't just do it once and think, oh, yep, Williams Grove's going to get it no matter what. No.
Do it on a weekly show.
There's a million factors, right? Weekly shows, there's a million factors. Because if that rainstorm, if they got hit with that red, orange, whatever, then no, we don't race on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all green.
And it's totally understandable.
We got completely
Sometimes
lucky.
You just can't fight Mother Nature.
The two bands went around Harrisburg to just above York. We got lucky as hell. That's a fact. And we just skirted through it. And they got hit, and it was a sprinkle at best. And you could see it was gnarly. But I agree. There was times I was like, there's no way. I was waiting for the cancellation.
Even when they had cars out there track packing, and
I was waiting for it.
When they were doing hot laps, I still said, I'm not convinced we race.
I was waiting for it
because I thought maybe we could still get hit with another thunderstorm, and they can't get the track worked in, but they got it worked in,
and they did.
But I also
you need to do to make an event like that at least get through.
At least they got it in, but I agree with Jay-Z. They had to have lost money.
No, for sure. But considering how many times they've pulled the trigger on the other side of it, when they pulled it out and were like, hey, the sun's out, at least they're choosing to risk it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And had they pulled it, I mean, Port Royal's got heat for that. Again, we get it. It's a business. You're there to make money. But if you pull that show at 11 o'clock and what happens, and it's 7 o'clock, hot laps, and there's a sun out, what's Williams Grove going to get? Or USAC going to get? They're going to get flamed for that, right? So it's interesting to see kind of the change. Port Royal's kind of stayed consistent, but over the last 3 years, Lincoln has kind of taken the other route of, nope, no shot. And Williams Grove's now, hey, we're going to risk it. So it's interesting to me. Like it's just to me. It's
listen, the fact of the matter is, I think they did it because it was USAC, and I think USAC played a part in this decision. There's that, and again. Total rumor, right? I don't know. This wasn't me. I didn't make it up. I didn't know it. I didn't say it. I'm just relaying what I heard, that they purposely had put a lot of water on the track before the rain came, knowing that if it rained anymore, they could just cancel. So
again,
after they said, hey, we're here. So I'm just saying I heard that, but I don't know.
But we've also seen them cancel World of Outlaw shows. We go back to last year, March. It didn't rain all day long in that March show. And it rained at 3 o'clock, like predicted, and they canceled right away. It's like so it's not unheard of Williams Grove and the National Series to decide to cancel.
Yeah,
after screwing everybody. So this is different to me.
I don't envy the tracks when they have to make these decisions because it is a business and you can't fight weather. But I do think I'm always on try to get it in the best you can compared to just calling it. You know what I mean? Because if I would have got there and that rain shower that hit, while I'm like, I would kind of understand, I would have been pissed. I would have been like,
and then the next time
it
looks
was
that
coming
same
for
way,
3 hours,
the next time it looks that way, you're not going to make that trip. So like, it's a business to cancel, but it's also a business to invest in the next time, right? Like it's not Port Royal. Port Royal has mountains on either side. That weather is so wild.
Daniel Lee here with a good comment. We should all be thankful we have radar on our phones. Can we imagine what it would have been like back in the 90s and 2000s trying to decide a race? And that's also a good thing. You got social media, and everybody's a weatherman on their phone now too. Makes this. It makes these decisions so much harder, and why tracks get a little more scrutiny than they used to.
Jeremy, you remember like in those days, right? Calling the racetrack phone number to get that automated message. Oh, we're still racing. Here's the points line. Up until you get to the parking lot and sit there while it's pouring, waiting to hear Bruce Ellis on or whatever track you're at. For me, it was Williams Grove. Waiting to hear him announce we officially canceled like 40 minutes after the gates open. You see that hollow lights. So thank God we have social media, but hey, it's a perk. Like I would rather them cancel early than us all sitting there in the rain waiting for what we know is coming, but we just too stubborn to not go at all.
This is the last thing on this Friday night too. The other part of this is that they had an opportunity to wait longer. All the teams were in town. There was nobody traveling. All the teams
Yep.
were already there. They were in
Yep.
town. You can take your chance. You can take your shot. They knew once the line went through, they had a chance to race. You do the best you can with the information you have. You don't know.
Yep.
They did a good job. Saw a great race. Let's move on. I'm tired of talking about fucking rain in Williams Grove. Like,
Well,
love
let's
Williams
move
Grove.
on to
Williams
the
Grove's
Wing
best track.
410 race then, because this one was pretty cool. First time in almost 20 years, TJ Stutz gets the win at Williams Grove. Awesome. This was a pretty cool race. I felt kind of bad for Tony Jackson, who led pretty much majority of
Props
this
to
race.
Tony Jackson, though.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. There was 18 cars, and I think some of it was
Weather, like Billy even said in
weather.
the chat.
Billy just said it in the
Weather.
chat.
Simple.
We pulled
It
the
was
plug on
weather.
going because of the forecast, tired of getting burned driving and then canceled.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's understandable. You know, tracks can't get mad at that either because
No, it's a business.
it's
for
a
the
business
teams,
also
too.
for the teams as well. You know, they got to make a decision. But yep. TJ Stutz, first 410 win since at Williams Grove since like 2005. It's just about 20 years.
Which is
Which
crazy.
this is only his second career Williams Grove win, and it's about almost
That's
20 years. In
Absolutely
between,
crazy.
which
I have
is
a
nuts.
photo book of TJ Stutz from that era, and I thought he won at least once a month. It was crazy.
Or maybe it's not only his second one. From his first one, I'm sorry, was 20 years. So yeah, just this was there's a handicap, heavy track, so passing was hard to come by, but there was still some passing. There's that good back half of the top 10 was a good battle. You had Aaron Bollinger breaking out the family 16 car. Kyle Moody was a surprise for me because he just put out on social media last week that he was hurting for equipment, probably was going to be parked until then. But he showed up, so he figured it out. Jeff Halligan was in the 1X. That was a surprise.
1W.
Or sorry,
Same thing.
1W. Thank you. Other takeaways from this, guys.
I did. I mean, Tony Jackson to me, that's my takeaway. I watched him that whole feature, and TJ Stutz, I get it. I love TJ, and when they do well, it's cool. But seeing Tony Jackson, and I know he started up front. He started at the pole. See him and Mike Hess whatever. Seeing them run well for once, up in the top 3 and be competitive. That's Tony Jackson that I know from the sportsman division. And seeing them finally be there, that was cool. And he was a little experience away from probably winning that race.
I'm a Tony Jackson fan, so when I say what I'm going to say, I'm not taking a shot. Okay, so just hear me out. First thing, I hate that. I love that TJ Stutz won this race, but it does take away from me from how good Tony Jackson was and how good of a race he ran to get Pete to his career best. But I'll be honest, there were stages of that race where Tony Jackson had Jarrett Cavallette all over him, and neither of those cars have shown the ability to have that elite Williams Grove speed this year. So, I don't think Tony Jackson was the best car. I'm not sure he was the best car inside the top 10, but track position at Williams Grove on a heavy racetrack matters a lot, clearly. TJ Stutz with the experience, whether he's won there or not, he's there every damn week. He shows up year after year and
He's
race
been
after race,
fast.
and he knows how to pass cars at Williams Grove. Got the job done. And again, I'm not taking that away from Tony Jackson. Trust me, P2 is freaking phenomenal as a rookie in a 410. Fantastic job. Austin Bishop P4. Jarrett Cavallette held on to a P5. And again, Jarrett hasn't shown this elite speed at Williams Grove and hung on to a P5. I think that shows you a little bit about that track and that surface and how tricky it was. Freddie got up to 6, Troy P7. They both started in side by side or one spot behind each other, I think. So, Borden P9. That just shows you how difficult this track was. And it was the perfect night for a Stutz, a Jackson, a Jarrett Cavallette to get a great start and get up there and contend for a win. This is exactly what handicapping is about, and they need to take advantage when they can, and they did. So great job for them. Again, I'm not taking away from what Tony did there, but I don't know if we have a more of a slick to a curb, finesse, maybe racetrack that he doesn't get eaten up a little sooner by a couple guys with the experience. But he did a hell of a job. Great job. Great. Again, they're obviously going to walk away with their heads high, and they should. That builds a lot of confidence for a young driver in the division for sure. And listen, 18 cars, we know the weather affected it. And to get to 18 cars, we had Brent Shearer in the 12. We had Halligan in the 1W. They blew up recently. Moody was back with a motor. Didn't know he was going to be there. Cavalette has been a fairly regular this year, but not every week. Chad Trout hasn't been there every week. Brendan Gone's been a regular lately. Cody Hartlaw been in a different car. So it took a combination of guys to get to 18 cars here. This could have easily been a 14 car field. I'm just or less.
I believe.
So thankful to the guys that did show up. And again, I get the weather factor of this, but if you didn't have plans on a Friday night and you're a race car driver and you were like, hey, it's worth it if we get this in to get that start money, man, shame on you a little bit, right? A little bit. But again,
but it all depends if it's worth it, because if you have to drive.
I don't own a race car and had no costs invested, and I was debating going. So I get it. I get it completely. But it's good start money at Williams Grove. It's good start money if you don't run a lot of laps. And it works out. So, but listen, the teams had it in the same debate we all just talked about. Why? What says that? Why would I put myself through that? On a Friday night. So, but congrats to TJ Stutz. As much emotion as I've ever seen, and look at that smile. That's as much emotion as I've ever seen I have at a racetrack. So,
dude, I was super happy for him, because whether this was a heavy track or not, TJ Stutz is a threat. He's been all year. He's been fast. Obviously, we know how he's very good at time trials, but regardless, he's been good everywhere. And he shocked me. We're going to talk about it here in a second at Port Royal. And he got top 5 at Port Royal too, out of nowhere.
They found something for sure this year, and something, experience, mechanical, whatever. He was running that bottom line, right? And Tony was still up on that cushion that was like midway up or whatever it was, but TJ just went down there and gripped him with these 3 and 4. And I want to correct, it was Scott Hess. My apologies. I know who Mike Hess is, but Scott Hess and Tony Jackson, that team, they've been building, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Like, they're getting there, right? It takes time. You go from a super sportsman to 410, and they're there. And yes, clean air definitely helped, but we know how good Tony Jackson is, right? And the equipment's there. He'll learn. He's used to being, at least this year, kind of stuck mid-pack, right, aero-wise. So that stuff will come. But when TJ Stutz goes to the bottom and not quite Lance Deweese's you, but more or less Lance Deweese's you, that's experience.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? That's TJ Stutz. He's been around for a millennial. So, let's get it.
Jarek Cavalette does deserve some props here too. You know what I mean? It's one thing to... We've seen guys, and I thought the same thing last week with Bryn Gone. You could start up front, but can you stay up there? You know what I mean? And you see guys sometimes they free fall within the first couple of laps. Then there's guys that they're good for about the first half of the race, and then either traffic or just a track starts blowing off, and then the speed starts coming up from the guys from behind them. Not necessarily that those guys slow down. So he's still, like you said, he was on the back of Tony Jackson for the lead there for a while. So good run for him. Steve Buckwalter with the top 3. Good race. It wasn't bad.
Does it bring in the handicap thing? This is the cool part about handicapping. Different winners, different top 5s.
Unless we're talking. No, the cool part about handicapping is what you just see, but ask Freddie and Troy what they think about it.
Right.
Oh, they definitely hate it.
We get the parity, and you give some of these younger guys, some of these maybe less experienced guys, a little bit of experience up front, having, what I mean, instead of just riding in the back and pulling off after 10 laps. They're battling for position up front. You know what I mean? But to Jay-Z's point, ask some of these fast guys, because you can't pass.
I get the argument. I get it. Freddie and Troy, they're top 2 in points. That's unfortunate. But they have to earn that, and it's cool to see some young guys with.
And at that point, if you're starting back in 12th. I don't
Yeah,
think, especially at
navigate
a,
it.
I don't know, heavy Williams Grove, you're not fighting for the win. You're points
No,
racing at
you're
that point.
beating the
Him
other
and
monkey.
Freddie and Troy, which Freddie had to throw a bomb on, I think, Whittle and Troy to get around them like the last lap or next to last lap, because Troy was in front of him, which kind of, we could be looking back at that maybe later in the year and being like, oh boy,
What a move, right?
what a move, because that could have been something big that, because Troy's right there on his tail for the points there. It becomes a different race within a race. So you get,
No, I get it.
That's another nice thing about handicapping, but you got to know that as a fan. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I'm with you guys. Like I don't know where I stand on this, but the perk of the handicap system is look at this top 5. Look at these guys we're talking about: the Tony Jacksons, TJ Stutz, the Buckwalters, Bishop, Cavalot. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, and they get that extra money that they're not normally getting. If they're, TJ Stutz not necessarily, but
But even
because he's
still,
up there.
even
But you know what I mean.
like, right? But time trial shows. If you're looking at this 18 car roster or a time trial show, Freddie and Troy are probably on the front row, right? Beyond that, Devin Borden's there.
TJ would probably be right there,
and he'd be there too. But
Cam Smith.
It's kind of cool. You get to showcase some. It's a local show. You're not supposed to be a World of Outlaws fast. You're supposed to be good at what your craft is. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't love it, but I get it. I get the draw to it.
Most nights it won't end up this way, so it is what it is. Let's keep moving.
Exactly. Let's go. Saturday night. This was the night, the one that I know me and Jeremy specifically we're definitely really looking forward to. Was at Port Royal, the big 3-division race, USAC Sprint Cars, USAC Silver Crown, and of course the Weikert's Livestock 410 Wings Sprint Cars, all there. Good show, perfect night, weather-wise. Just, you're going to be in there for a late night when you go to this race. There was a little bit less cars, and I say a little bit because there was still 94 cars in the pit area total between the 3 divisions. But yet 27 for both USAC divisions, and then 30 410 sprint cars. We'll start here with the USAC race. Brady Bacon looked great. Got the win, another win with CJ Leary right there. Alex Bright with a nice podium. Another heartbreak for Briggs Danner, who started on the pole. What were your takeaways from this, JZ?
I think they should have started 27 of these and 27 of the Silver Crown
I
cars.
agree.
I did not need the B mains.
We didn't need the B mains.
That's number one. Like, we did not need them. It was the 410s. That's fine. You're not going to do 30 of them. That's fine if you have that B main, but 27. Come on, just start the damn cars. That's number one.
Yep.
Unless it's some sort of black and white bylaw that they don't do that in USAC.
It might be a points thing.
Whatever. It just doesn't need it. So Briggs Danner, again, very good. Hit the wall, brakes. He did what he was. He broke the car doing what he had to do to try to win that race. It just bit him. Simple as that. Other guys hit the wall, didn't break. He hit the wall, broke. It happens. Again, bringing it up again because he's there. He qualified on the pole. He was leading the race. They knew he was there. They were chasing him, plain and simple. Brady Bacon gets it done, gets the lead, kind of gets away from it. Leary, Bright, Pursley, and Moles top 5. Again, you're seeing some of those same names sort of. There's some interchangeables there. Grant, Kevin Thomas, KTJ, Grant, CV. Excuse me, obviously.
Pursley.
Kyle Cummins at times, Swanson, Ballou, Stockton, Stockton? It's not Stockton.
I know.
It's wild.
I know, right?
I was today years old, okay? And apparently the rest of the world too.
I learned that a couple of years ago. I used to always say Chase Stockton, and I'm like, why is somebody says, I think maybe it was the announcer. I'm like, why is he saying it like that? There's no T.
I swear I've heard it. Like, Heard it
Yeah.
Stockton for years. Anyway, but I was today years old because I made a post on it today on my page on my photos page, and I got corrected. And I don't think anybody was upset, but the guy even writes Stockton on his thing and has a circle with a line through the T on his wing. Look at that
I didn't
picture.
realize that.
Yeah, it's on the nameplate, and I saw it. I guess I just didn't understand it, but it's the whole not Craig Wagaman, Troy Wagaman
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
But no, this was entertaining all night. The heats were awesome,
Mhm.
spreading out 3-4 wide in heat races into turn one. Guys making moves, guys making speed up top, through the middle, on the bottom. It was entertaining, as it was the year before, and as long as they keep having this show, I'm going to keep going. This was awesome.
Absolutely. We'll go into the next division here. This was the nightcap. We'll get to the 410s here in a second. The Silver Crown race, and this was going to originally be the big reason why our guest was coming on tonight. Daison Purlsey, second Silver Crown race, gets a win in a last lap pass around Justin Grant, who led most of this.
He didn't
It was
really
just
though.
awesome.
Brady
Huh?
Bacon led
He
the
did.
first quarter of this race.
For
I mean,
first
or more,
quarter of it, yeah.
and then Grant
But
kind of
towards the end,
followed it.
like I started, I had. I don't know if you see this. I got a Dylan Cisney wing panel. You might have been able to see my stupid ass putting it up, maybe on Flow Racing at times. My uncle got me that. Thank you. I was able to bring a lot of my family to this race, and for some of them, it was their first trip to Port Royal, first trip in to see any of this type of racing. So it was really, really cool to have them there. It was just a great night for me personally. So I do want to thank my uncle for getting me this. This was awesome. He just, we're there, we're watching hot laps or qualifying, and he just starts walking in with this. He's like, here you go. So shout out to him. But so I had a lot of stuff to start carrying back. I saw Grant out in the lead, and I know personally, like there's a couple guys really banging the top, making some speed. But I'm like, all right, I'll walk out and I'll watch, the end of it, kind of thinking that Grant has this in the bag because Justin Grant's really good. Like he's fantastic, and especially on these big half miles, whether it's the sprint car or the Silver Crown car. He's really good, and I kind of felt like he had it in the bag. And then I guess he kind of got into some lap traffic there. I left with I started walking back. I didn't even leave. I started walking back because I was camping there. I was walking back with about 12 to go, and all of a sudden, start hearing all this, and it's like, oh, here he comes off of 4. After a little bit of a battle there, Grant maybe kind of pinched him, definitely for sure. And Purlsey took it right back. It was a hell of a last couple laps.
Yeah, Grant kind of every right to be pissed, or whether it's at himself or a lap car or the situation, whatever the case may be. I don't know, but you do your job and you do everything you can, and you lose it that way. Sucks for him, but Daison personally saw an opportunity, and sometimes it's better being second. We've heard that over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And he took his shot, and I'm telling you, the first slider when Grant crossed him back over off 4, and they touched, and Pursley hit the wall hard off 4. I can't believe they both came around in one piece to try it again in 3 and 4 the last lap. And Daison just kept it on the top, and Justin was going to try to slide him, and just couldn't clear him, and slid up, and Daison took the win. Second career Silver Crown start, just unbelievable.
I know
The talent and his story, man. Like disappointed for tonight that he's not here to while it's still fresh in his mind and his thoughts and emotions. But maybe a week will be good to think about what he just went through this week, and Eastern Storm and Silver Crown and the whole deal.
Yeah.
But a very entertaining race. I found something throughout that field to watch every lap of that race.
Yeah.
Every single lap, I found something to watch. And when you see Logan Seavey, he was actually near the front, had to go to the back. Briggs Danner and good race cars and race car drivers in the middle of that field, just battling and doing it in different ways. Again, they were spread out in every line of that racetrack through that feature. It was super entertaining.
Chase Dietz also with another top 10. He turned heads last year in his first start there with a podium. And, he's just been really good in the Silver Crown car. He's just another top 10. He's been in the top 10, I think, just about every Silver Crown race he's been in. Alex Bright, also a top 10. Briggs Danner, also a top 10. They're rookies. A lot of rookies in the top 10 here. Carmen Perigo, 12th. Shout out to him. There was a little drama during qualifying. I guess it was multiple cars. And maybe this was the reason why they definitely did the B main. I'm not sure. But there was multiple cars that had the wrong, was it right front or left front tire on? They have a different kind of tire for half mile and mile tracks on dirt. And I guess some of them had the mile one on instead of the half mile, and their times got disallowed and they had to go to the B main. So I don't know if that's the reason why they just didn't start everybody. But there was some drama there going on in the pits.
Yeah, Kaylee Bryson put a video up saying that she got confirmation from an official that it was fine, and then so they went about their business and came back after qualifying, and it wasn't fine. So it just sounds like some miscommunication from the top of USAC, between officials. It sucks. I hate it. A lot of the social media stuff I heard was, yeah, typical USAC.
Yeah,
That's unfair. I mean, maybe it's fair. Maybe that's been a continuing thing year after year, race after race. You don't really just come up and say that if there's not merit to that, but it is social
right.
media, so who knows? But based on what Kaylee Bryson said, they made them change one side and said the other side was fine, and then it got to the scales and it wasn't fine. So that's kind of doesn't make sense for sure. But these are the moments where you'd love to hear USAC side of things.
Right.
I haven't heard that other than it's a live call. But I don't know where all these cars qualify, but they had to all run the B main then. So
Yeah.
Probably unnecessary and it's crappy all around. I'm not putting blame anywhere. Because I'm not on either side. I'm not a car owner and I'm not USAC, but I know what they said the rule was. I know the penalty, and I saw Kaylee's video. So something that it doesn't add up. Something's not jiving. So hopefully they get it figured out and they can not have that happen.
Yeah. Why there's a difference between a half and a full mile just for a front tire, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if it would. I don't think there's any way you gain like an advantage or anything, but maybe
It could be a tread pattern, right, for the higher speeds potentially. They said they called it an H tire or something. So, it could be just a tread pattern kind of deal for the just the raw speeds that they do. I don't know for sure. Who would be a good person to ask that to would be Daison Purlsey.
Yeah.
Hopefully
next Monday.
Yeah, shame on him for having a good family that wants to surprise him for his win in midget week.
And listen, Daison and a lot of these they went straight. A lot of these guys went straight from 5 straight nights of midget week in Indiana, to come into PA and running sprint cars all week, and then you also have the Silver Crown race in there. A lot of racing in about 2 weeks. He's just finally getting tonight to be able to celebrate that midget week championship. So good for him, So hopefully we'll have him on next Monday and be able to talk to him a little bit more. But man, he's the first guy this year to win in all 3 USAC divisions: midget, Silver Crown, and midget, Silver Crown, and the national sprints. He also has a winged 410 win at Huset's and micro wins. So he has 5. He's won in 5 different cars just in this calendar year, in the first 6 months of this calendar year. Just a lot of talent out of that guy, and he has such a great story. I can't wait to actually get him on here and talk about that. Just the fact that he's out there racing right now is incredible, and he has a lot of talent, and he's definitely somebody that this is going to be the first of many. So yeah, Chris, you have any thoughts from the Silver Crown race?
No, I mean, sure. I mean, Daison winning is cool, right? Like that story's impressive. Going from where the injury and back to where he is now. I don't know. I It's not what you'd expect, right? We talked last week where we kind of made our picks, and that wasn't a name, right, Jeremy? It's not someone that we talked about. Not for Silver Crown. Second career start. That's cool, and that's huge. When he comes here, it's going to be huge. But you, you have your CVs, you have your Swansons. That's cool. And Chase Dietz ago. So where did he finish last year? Where did Chase Dietz finish last year? He was leading a long.
Similar?
He was podium. He was top 5 though. Chase Dietz again doesn't run this nearly as much as these guys. Still running 6th. I almost wish he would run the wingless 410 race, right? The sprint car race to see kind of where he measured up. 3rd last year, 6th this year. I don't know. I think for me, looking at this list, that's impressive.
Yeah. Agreed. My pick for this race was Logan Seavey, and I think he would have been in contention. Had to pull in, come back from the back, finish 10th.
Right.
Still, I know that top 10. I watched Matt Westphal in this race, and he started 5th and ends up 4th. I'm not sure Matt Westphal went over 40% throttle the whole race. Maybe down the straightaways, maybe. But I'm telling you that the speed he was going through the corners is about the speed I would be like freaked out at, because that thing was just crawling through the corners. You'd hear him come by and you could barely hear his car because you could still hear the cars in front of him just knocking the fence down. And he's just putting along. I thought a yellow came out a couple times. He was going so slow around the bottom. But that was cool about this race is you could be successful in a lot of different ways, but that also shows how hard it was to pass and how equal that field was, because that guy had a whole different way to do it and finished 4th. CV got back to 10th, and he's obviously talented. Even though that track was so big, everybody was so equal. And it was hard to pass, and it was, no matter who you are or what you had, it was very difficult to pass on a wide racetrack with a lot of options. Very cool to watch. It was fun.
The track was so good. They had the nice, even it started happening early. However, they prepped the track, and I said about it again last week too. But it's getting better and better. They have a curb up there now against the wall.
It was a wedge. It was a wedge of dirt. It was wild.
And for them to be able to take these cars are so much heavier than a normal sprint car, because not just because of the fuel, but just because of everything with them. And for them to be able to just throw it up there and still pin it almost like a regular sprint car is insane to me. It's so cool to see. If you don't get a chance, I'm hoping that they keep doing this. I think with how successful this has been, they got to keep coming back every year, right? I mean, it's been great.
Have to.
I would like to see them maybe try to condense the schedule a little bit more in the future, because I know for like other Silver Crown races, they'll do qualifying like early in the day, and I think that would be like, go ahead and do qualifying for them. Even if it's sunny out, whatever, go ahead and do qualifying for them at like 1:00. And if fans want to come, whatever.
That creates a mess for track prep. I mean, you're getting a track ready for a qualifying session at 1 p.m. starting. They have I don't know.
I get it. But if they could find some way to, because I know my family, they were like a little bit over 2 hours away, and they didn't stay for a Silver Crown feature because it was already 11:00 at that point, and they had to drive back, and this all didn't get done till after midnight, and that's fine. Like for us diehards, and we said it on here, I don't care about being there that late because I want to see all this, but it would be especially I think too. What gets me too is that you only had 3 more cars than a normal field. Just start them all. Yeah. Save us a little bit of time.
I think in this case, the only thing that could have been done there is just start them all. Don't run the bees. Yeah. Let's keep going. I agree. I don't mind if this started an hour earlier on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I could deal with that. And then, because you don't know what you're going to get for car counts, right? There could have been a legitimate need for B mains, and you don't know going in. But this race was long last year. The same thing last year. It was just a long night, very long night. I think starting an hour earlier with the way that the formats do go in these cars, you don't even run heats in the Silver Crown, and we still ended up here. So
yeah,
it's just a long night. So I'd like to see this condensed somehow. Find a
Yeah.
way. If they continue to do this, and I don't want them to take a series away. That's what I don't
No,
want.
exactly. I want to see all
I
the
don't want them
divisions.
to have it too.
I would
Yeah.
love to make this like another foreground and add the freaking midgets if they could figure out a way somehow. But that's a pipe dream. Don't want to take that away from Eldora.
Yeah, let's
Let's slow it down a
we'll
little bit.
push
But
it.
this is still great. This is as close as you're going to get to that.
Unless you go to
without going
Eldora.
there. Unless you go to Eldora. Let's talk about another great story from the winner. 410, Boykert 410, just a couple weeks ago. Justin Whittles leaving that track in an ambulance. It looked bad. And man, this guy's had a lot of tough wrecks the past year. Obviously, the one at Williams Grove last year, the one at Port this year, a couple other really hard hits in between there. Gets it done, man. And he looked good. He looked good doing it. He was fast, ripping the top. By the way, top 4 all T2T guests. Just saying, they were all guests at one point on this show.
Jimmy,
Well,
I gotta pick on you for a second.
Okay,
His name has two L's in Whittle.
my bad.
All good.
Anyway.
I saw it earlier, and I'm like, maybe it's just this one. It's 2 L's. All good.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name, all right, Jimmy?
And also,
Well,
poor Justin Woodall. He's the only one that has not had good luck since being on the show. Because since then, he's, like you said, had a tough road. He's the only one that's not a T2T, like, I guess, success. Like, he's been good, but he's had all those shitty wrecks afterwards. Like, maybe we jinxed him.
What?
maybe.
I don't think so. It doesn't work that way. We jinx people in a good way. So
Yeah, well,
here it is. It paid off.
trying to,
All right.
yeah, you're right. Fair enough.
So this was outstanding. Great story. Dominated this race. But man, again, this is one of those deals where you got to be happy for Justin. And I don't want to take anything away from this. But Mike Walter and Cody Lehman, what they did in this race, and Cody Lehman especially, Mike Walter, man, he did a great freaking job. But Cody Lehman finishes third. I see the rundown, and I see he finished third. I didn't know till the next damn day that he started 18th. This guy started 18th in the A-Main at Port Royal and finished third. That doesn't happen. And then I watched the feature, and I'm like, well, no wonder. He had that thing pinned to the bottom. And the only one who could keep the car down there, roll down there, and was down there, and just car after
Just
car
kept
after car,
rolling past
and was
them all.
inside the top 10 in no time. And then 7th, 9th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd. And the only reason he lost second was he got held up behind a lap car, and Walter ran the top. He got held up behind Trenton Schaefer, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't even remember who it was.
Jake
He
Waters.
got held, or
somewhere around there. Maybe was it Jake Waters?
maybe
don't
Jake
know.
Waters. Jake Waters was on the bottom, and Cody was so fast that he got slowed up, and Walter ripped the top and went fine for second, which is fine. I'm happy for Mike for sure.
Yeah.
Phenomenal job. But Cody Lehman, holy shit! Like, I didn't even have any idea he started 18th. It just, I was watching this race and I'm looking around and I was talking to some people and I just was like, man, this is cool, right? And then I looked the next day and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
What?
I
How
don't.
did this happen? How did I not notice it?
That had to be
so cool, man.
That had to be the biggest mover there since Macri won the 50.
Right. I mean, it was big enough. He was a hard charger, and when Macri won the 50, he was 17th, I do believe. So yes,
it was 19th, Macri
Mm-hmm.
that night.
We take a number off just because. Anyway, I saw it because of him being a hard charger. Impressive drive though. From Cody Lehman. That's amazing.
I don't
And you
know.
love it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't see it. What happened with Karklin, Wolf, and Borden on the front stretch? It took a while to clean that up. I'm not sure. Another tough week with the fast race car for Jake. I don't know. Did you see it?
No, but I talked to someone, Borden's in car, and it looked like maybe Jake hit one of the openings on the top at the pit road opening somewhere. came down across the track and collected down the front stretch. And that's where you saw the result of as he came across one of them deals. And I don't know what it is about Port Royal, but man, they've had some spectacular crashes down the front stretch of this place. It's wild and not a great place to have it at the speeds that they carry. So it sounds like Kirkland hit the wall somewhere somehow and kind of started that, came down across, and they piled in there. So glad everybody was okay there for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, tough luck for them. I still think Jake's going to be a guy to watch to get a win here some point this year. He's been really fast there. Him and Cody have been really turning heads. TJ Stutz, like I said before, top 5. He's been running that plank car down at Lincoln, and then he kind of shows up here. I don't know if it's just a momentum off of Williams Grove or that they decided to do that or what, but man, he looked good too. I mean, he's been fast. Mark Smith was, he was running the Silver Crown car, but with also a surprise start, getting a top 10. Garrett Bard with another top 10 as well. Really good runs from those guys. So, anything else from Port Royal on Saturday night? Just great time, great event. I had a great time. For me, I don't even want to say the racing was necessarily secondary, but I just had a great time all around with everybody I was with. Christopher Noel, I do gotta address this because Noel. I just did it. I saw him on Friday, and if I'm ever mispronouncing somebody's name, please let me know. I'm only human. I did it to Joey last week.
Follow my example. I let that bitch know. He screwed it up. Get it fixed. So that's how you do it.
I want to know where stories
did. He's like, one. It's Noel. It's Noel. He kept saying it to me on. So Christopher Noel, I'm sorry for pronouncing the E there. So thank you for watching, buddy.
But did you cheer for Chase Elliott though?
No.
Can't. No. You say sorry to him next Friday. Continue on.
So yeah, Port Royal, just a great time. Let's get to Lincoln, late model speed week. And there was some controversy here, and I honestly don't know too much. I know Jay-Z has a little bit of inside stuff from this, but before we get into that, Cam Smith, another win. Good for him, Lincoln. He's been good there, got the win here. Troy second, Matt Campbell third, Tyler Ross another top 5. Chris Frank sixth.
Day after his birthday, too. Happy birthday, Chris Frank.
Happy birthday, Chris Frank. And Brett Strickler with a top 10. Let's go. But obviously, the story of the night is what, Jay-Z?
The story of the night is that top 5, guys. Tyler Ross again, Matt Campbell, Troy Wagaman, Cam Smith, Logan Rumsey, P13 in his 410 Lincoln debut, by the way. Yep. Jordan Strickler, Jordan Givler back at Lincoln. It's been a few weeks. So
Hayden Jordan Givler spun out and still climbed back to 18th. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Logan Rumsey 13th too. I just saw that.
Past cars.
Tim Gladfelder had the 410 out again. Hayden Miller brought the 410 out. Trey Hivner was back after a few weeks off. TJ Greaves with a top 10 started up front, ended up with the top 10 there. So just a really neat rundown here. And what you're starting to see, Cam Smith, Troy Wagaman, Matt Campbell, Tyler Ross, Freddie Raymer, Danny Dietrich, Anthony Macri. Like you're seeing these names week after week after week here, and they're, Tyler got to win. Campbell's I'm telling you, Matt Campbell.
He's on the door.
Any week.
He gets that win, he might win 6. Like Cam Smith is starting to do here right now. He's emerging. Troy's there, right? These battles for the next bunch of years, if they all hang around, some of these battles are going to be unbelievable at Lincoln Speedway for the wins. And not taking away from these guys, the Macris and the Marks and the Dietrichs and, even Freddie. But I'm telling you that this group right there, boy, Lincoln Speedway could be a blast for years to come.
Right.
You don't know what happens, but man, what a group.
Right. And you touched on it last week because Cam Smith wins Williams Grove. Quick time at Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And you're talking about Old Mo.
Opens the lid.
Old Mo.
Big
and old
momentum,
Mo
baby.
keeps on rolling. And get the win there. I mean, we talk about
momentum.
Troy, and Troy's been fast as shit for what, 18 months now.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, different level, and that team, we know that's a good team. We know they have resources and they're gelling at the right time. You love to see it, right?
Yeah.
The day he graduates, but the day or day after he graduates high school, gets another win, second one in the 410. You love to see it.
Yeah.
You love to see that talent come through.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about the other thing. I know that's where you wanted me to go there, but I'm not going to allow
No,
that.
I like the way where you took it first.
I'm not going to allow this conversation to overshadow what I see there. Plain and simple. And so apparently, there's an issue with the scales after a heat, and of course, the centers around the 8 with Freddie didn't go to the scales, didn't get penalized. Clear rule: you don't go to the scales, you get penalized. Got to start wherever he was supposed to start in the A based on the handicap, 13th, I guess. Yeah, Billy Dietrich on social media. You can go see his post about it. I was not there. Chris was not there. Jimmy was not there. I can only go off of what I'm being told. I have zero opinion on this because I wasn't there, but the rules are very clear. There's been lots of penalties this year for this rule. The only thing I know from this was different. The scale situation with cones and officials and formats and procedures because of late model speed week. So there were different things going on there. From the Raymer camp, there was a post that said he was waved off of the scales by an official. What that means, I don't. Does that mean you're okay? You don't ever have to come back? Did you circle back around? They say once you nose into the trailer, you missed the scale. It's hard for me to really make a comment one way or the other on this because I wasn't there. I didn't see it. There were people that were there. And the way this year has gone at Lincoln Speedway, like many, 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 many years, it always comes down to this perception of favoritism against or for drivers, mainly two families. But I don't know. Obviously, yeah, it said he was DQ because he didn't go to the scales. Conversations had to have happened. He was waved off. I don't know. Again, all I know is I wish we heard from the track in the same situation as
Yep.
USAC with the tire.
Yep.
Right.
Right, because there was a penalty enforced and they were told
They
something
can
different.
clear it.
Okay, so I wish we did hear from the track on this because it can affect the outcome of a race. I thought about this a lot today. We watch professional sports and there's always umpires, there's always discretionary calls, there's strike zones, there's pass interference, there's fouls. There's always things that people disagree with. There are rules too, but someone
Yep.
makes a call. Okay.
Yep.
Just a foul is a foul depending if the referee sees it as a foul. A strike is a strike if they see it as a strike. And a ball. Pass interference is pass interference if it's called pass interference. Doesn't mean it's right. So in this situation, this seems like a very black and white thing, but were there other circumstances around it? I can't say yes or no, but that's clearly what I'm hearing. And I'm not saying that anyone's right or wrong here. I'm not. But it's not I don't have an opinion on this exact matter because I wasn't there, but I'm just saying that even in this sport, our sport, these decisions can have outcomes on races, just like a foul, no foul, strike ball.
Sure.
All of those things can have outcomes on an event and a race. The difference here is though that one strike ultimately may not change the course of a season, may not change the course of it. It could be in the World Series, right? It can, and it can always have some effect if it's an incorrect call. But we don't know. I don't know. But I'm just saying that there is humans involved here, and they can get it wrong, or there can be other circumstances in play, and that's what it sounds like a little bit. But I don't know that for sure. But if he missed the scales, knew he missed the scales, went to the trailer, didn't make an attempt, wasn't waved off, whatever. Then no, this was incorrect. He should not have gotten it. Should be at the back of whatever he should be at the back of. But he wasn't, and I know that that's the issue. Got his essentially got his where he finished in the heat, got to start 13th, and at the end of the day, he finished 5th here, guys. Didn't win the race, so what did it? Whatever. I guess maybe 6 is pissed that he didn't get 5th. Frank should be pissed he didn't get 5th because he didn't. Whatever.
No, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. So to me, it's 2-part. So one, yes, you're right. If the rules say you got to do these things, go to scales, you're DQ'd. Fine. Lincoln DQs him. Then who decides that he's not DQ'd and gets his spot back? Like you said, balls and strikes. You don't. Do we have a replay review? Is that where this goes? And that's kind of a weird thing, right? Like, again, I wasn't there either. But if they're gonna wave him off or whatever happened, we do not know. But if you're gonna DQ him, then how does he get a spot back? Like, pick a lane,
Well,
right?
Just because it can be overruled, just like USAC could have, but didn't.
Right.
Sure. Let's say, well,
because their officials did do it, right? It was listen, we don't know. Maybe this was
we don't know.
good communication that got the call right based on what went
Sure.
on actually in the pits. We don't know. But
we
also,
don't know. That's what I'm saying. We do not know.
Right.
So
what we do know is this, perception-wise. And perception is a weird thing, right? Like, what we do know is Freddie gets DQ'd, and now Freddie's not DQ'd. We already have this weird perception in the fan group from whoever fans that he gets favoritism from Lincoln for whatever the Ramers, whatever angle you want to take, right, wrong, or indifferent. And it happens again. They're already going to have that perception of, oh, he was DQ'd because he did wrong, but now Daddy went and solved it. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's the perception, right? Just like
sure,
whatever scenario. And you look at even High Limit with Kevin Nouse and Brad Sweet. We know they're not being shady because the last thing Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson need is a controversy that their cars are illegal. Is Kevin Nouse not reading the scales a big deal? Yes, perception-wise it is. Is Brad Sweet cheating? No. Brad Sweet's not cheating. He's just that good. Just like Freddie. But perception, here we go again. Oh, Freddie gets a spot back as Lincoln.
Well, I mean,
all it does is bring in the question. All it does is bring in the question.
And the fact that it's not the first time.
It's not the first time. Jump start.
It's a
brings
lot.
In the
I mean,
question
it's not
everything.
even the first. It's not even the first time in the 2024 season that we're talking
Sure.
about something like this.
But isn't this
right, wrong, or indifferent? It brings in the question all of it.
Right. Whether the call was right or not, it's still controversial.
And correct. And if we step back and look at it, right, the Dietrich's got a rule. The Dietrich's got a rule change this year.
Sure.
Right. So, like,
go bigger scope. Go bigger scope. Go to NFL.
It's the internet.
No matter what the Patriots do, they're cheating when they were winning, right? Because that rule, like, it was in the rule book.
They were, Chris. That's because
they were not
so
cheating. That was only that one time.
They got fined
but
for it, so there's that.
Nah, it was so whatever. The Chiefs now are cheating all the time, whatever it may be, right? Like the winners are always cheating. That's just the reality of sports because no one can cope with losing. But at the same time, when you do things that kind of like, we kind of see how that makes sense. It changed perception. Now, again, I'm not saying Lincoln did anything wrong. But if you DQ a guy, did USAC overrule then? But you know what? We fucked up. Those guys are all back in the race now. If you make a call that severe as a DQ, you gotta stand by it. You can't flip back.
Why
Are you
not?
shitting me? You better give an explanation if you do. You better tell me why they're not being DQ'd then. Or I'll even go step farther. If you're gonna DQ them with what like Bryson said, they said we could do it and now we can't. USAC needs to come out and say this is why you're DQ'd. And in this case,
like
Lincoln can step up. Lincoln can step up and do something and explain why Freddie wasn't DQ'd in the middle of the night. Social media is a hell of a thing. Do it. It solves this whole thing. But no, we're here. No one knows he's not DQ'd until he rolls out there. What's that look like?
You know what the other part of this is? How many other times has shit like this happened this year, but it's not a big name, so you don't hear a word about it?
It's never going to be not a big name, man.
Aunt Bay, I mean, he brought up a good point. Wish he got our spot back when missing a scale.
Yeah, but they did
Great.
fuck up. They didn't have. There
Yeah.
wasn't an
But
extenuating circumstance. He just didn't fucking
point-
go to the scales.
We don't even know if Freddie had an extenuating circumstance. We're
I know.
assuming he did
I understand.
because that's Freddie. Because Freddie wouldn't do that. So we're doing the same thing on the other side. Oh, he's a big name. He wouldn't do something stupid like that. It's the same thing.
It's just
if you're
it's-
Lincoln, come out and say,
yeah.
We
If you
fucked
don't
up,
want this
give him a spot
controversy,
own it.
explain it a little bit.
But how would they go about that? Well, in your eyes, let me ask you.
Social
Opinion.
media.
Now think about. Don't just think about it. How would you go about putting this out there?
We fucked up.
Your explanation of it.
We fucked up.
explain why you did what you did?
But they didn't
Just
do
explain.
anything technically.
You're right. They DQ'd him and then gave
They
him a spot
DQ'd him
back.
and then they not DQ'd him.
Did they though? Wasn't in a lineup anywhere or a finishing order.
Well, either
Was
way,
it just-
it's a big
Was
controversy.
it just said over the mic? Was it just said over the microphone?
We don't know. But apparently
Was
it
that
caught enough
incorrect?
attention. There's way
was
too
it
many people that
incorrect?
know about it for it just to be an
was it-
accident.
What was it
Steph
incorrect?
says that's exactly what
they
happened.
said
It said he was DQ'd and he was out on the track in his starting spot. I was very confused. So obviously the fans there knew
What said it?
because
The loudspeaker. 'Cause I'm saying is it
I
had to
don't
be
know.
bigger than the
Maybe
pits.
somebody there could say what happened exactly.
It had to be bigger than the
Right.
pits for it to get this
That's
much
what I'm saying
attention.
here. I don't think Lincoln looks good either way. They're
Yes.
never
no,
going to win.
No, but
So
this
they're
is
not- that's
definitely
why
worse.
You'll never hear any. No, it's not. You'll never hear anything. It'd be worse
Yes.
if they come out and tried to explain it because nobody would
If
believe
they would
them.
explain it, we could at least use
Chris,
facts.
People with a brain would believe it, but nobody on social media is going to believe a word they're going to say. It
Nobody
doesn't
right now
matter.
believes it though.
Nobody.
Right.
They're believing.
Nobody
what they
knows
want.
what to believe.
That's right. But they're just going to make up what they want to believe. So even if Lincoln came out and said it and cleared their name of it, and here's what happened, here's what we did. Do you really think it's going to help?
The smart people would still be able to say this.
There
is
are
what
no
pass it over to
smart
PA.
Raymer Dietrich fans. We're all emotionally.
We're not even the three of us. We are not Raymer and or Danny Dietrich fans, and we don't even agree on this. If they gave us rulings of why that happened, maybe we could tell the people why it's okay. They don't have to like it.
If you're going
It's
to
just
go
a
out
fact.
and announce that somebody was DQ'd, you got to figure out how to retract that if you're taking that away for some reason.
Right.
You got to
You
let people
DQ'd
know.
him for a
'Cause,
reason. Tell us
now we
why
have
he's
multiple
now
people
not
in there
DQ'd.
saying that over the loudspeaker they said he was DQ'd.
Sure.
So explain why he wasn't.
And
If it's
even-
because of late model speed week, things were congested, whatever.
Fine.
There was some, but
the
it-
neutral
the
parties
fact that
don't
they
have to
can't
like it,
explain why they withdrew it looks worse.
or even
Can
hell
or
why
won't.
they,
There's a difference. Can
or
won't.
why they even did it in the first place. They DQ'd him for a reason. Enough that they said over the loudspeaker.
Right.
It's not like they just
Right.
It's not like Wayne Harper's up there like Freddie missed scales. He's no, he clearly got that from an official, and now he's just not DQ'd, and there's no explanation. Like, I don't know. I get it.
I'm
I'm
all
not a
for-
Freddie hater. I'm not a Freddie hater, but I'm saying
No,
is
and
that
it's
it
I don't care
looks-
who it is at this point. It's
looks
just if the track is going to
suspect.
go out and announce that somebody's DQ'd, people are going to expect to not see that person out there where they're supposed they were originally going to be, and then all of a sudden you put them there and you don't explain why.
Right, and now what the hell?
I don't care if
add
that's
fuel to the
Freddie.
fire.
I don't care if that's Hartlob. I don't care if that's Strickler. I don't care if that's Moody. I don't care who that is. You got to explain it.
Right. And on top of that, you read the room. All year, the Dietrichs have been talking about calls, right, wrong, or indifferent, jump starts, whatever else, and they all go seemingly against Billy or Danny. Like, the optics. Like, I don't know.
If they could just explain why it was.
That's all. That's
I-
all,
I-
honestly, it's all it would
But
take.
me
If they could
personally,
explain it.
I don't really care either way. But
If they would explain, like, right, I'm with Jimmy. If they explain it, we could explain it to the people. And I don't. Yes, you're not going to convince the Dietrich fans that Freddie's innocent. Just like if you're not going to convince the Freddie fans that the Dietrich is innocent. But if you could tell us the rule, we could at least tell the rest of us, no, they made an error and we're good. Now we're just like, hey, this makes no sense to us either. Sorry. Bless you. Bless your heart. Right? Like, it's wild. And,
This still. Go ahead.
I was going to say the Aunt Bay's point. If Kyle Spence had a random cone there, that's why you can go to scale. Does he get his spot back if he makes a good enough argument, or what?
No, because there wasn't.
Because he's not Freddie Raymer, or because no?
I don't
That's
care
what
why the
everybody's
call.
right
That's
now.
the question. That's
I don't
now
really
the
care why
dialogue.
the call was made or not made. It's just if you're going to make this, if there was a
If you're gonna make the
miscommunication,
call-
just let everybody know what's going
Right.
on. Because if not, it
Yeah.
looks shadier.
Like we get
I think they needed to do it at the track, and they needed to let everybody know
Yes.
during the night.
yes,
Looking
yes.
today, after, I don't think they win, so I don't think you hear a word.
No, they
and
Right. At this point now,
it has
you're
to be,
right.
It has to be
That's
race
the
night
point.
stuff. That's a word. That's what I meant anyway.
Mhm.
Social media on race night. Why was DQ'd, and why get a spot back on race night? I don't think we have a problem. I don't think this conversation is happening today. Not to this level. Anyway.
It would be, because now everybody
It would be.
it would still be the same conversation, to be honest.
But at least
you would.
we
At least
could.
people with common sense that could make sense of it.
Sure. Sure.
But
No, I agree.
the other part of this, and it comes back again, all of these things that we keep hearing this year, is communication between upstairs and the guys on the ground.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
And I continue to hear this thing where there's a disconnect between a lot of these upstairs and the
Yep.
guys on the ground. And I don't feel it. It seems to me that the upstairs is the overruling factor of any human down below, and the humans down below are to carry flags. And
Yes.
it feels it. I get this vibe. I get this vibe week after week when these kind of things happen, that the booth can overrule anything or anyone that has said anything down below. And if
And that's
anyone
great.
down below, those folks shouldn't put themselves in that spot and make any kind of call to any kind of driver in that case, because they just look like fools when
Yep.
they don't have any. They're not empowered to help make decisions that are correct for the racetrack when they constantly get overruled on decisions that they have been told to make. So it's either they don't know, right? Like
Mhm.
it. To me, this feels like a training moment for these folks down below, because the Kaylee Bryson one, clearly a miscommunication.
Yep.
They upheld the penalty. They should be worried about their USAC officiating, not what the actual Kaylee Bryson tire thing.
The
Right?
point is, it
It's
shouldn't
not about the
happen.
tire. It's not about the tire. It's the same thing with Baps and Chase Gutschall earlier
Mhm.
this season. Communication. It's communication. What the official said, the driver did, and what ended up happening. I don't blame him for being mad. I still don't to this day
Right.
for being mad. He just did what he was asked. He asked the question. He did what he was told, and then
But
got
by a
told
track
something else
official.
and got on the track. Right? It's this to me still. It's coming back to this communication thing between officials and up top, and I don't. It's just on them. It's on the tracks to get it right.
And it's on the tracks to admit when they're wrong. The more transparent the tracks are,
it's on them to it's on them to fix it and get it right, Chris. They don't have
That's
to
true,
admit
too.
that they fucked up. They don't have to admit that they messed up. They should, but they
If
don't
they
have
should,
to. They
right,
just
you're
got to
right.
get it
They don't
right.
have
They
to,
gotta
but they
continue
want to
to
build
train and get it
trust.
right.
If they want to build trust back in their officiating, admit when you're wrong.
But
Admit that
think about it, Chris.
when
Think
you're
about
wrong.
it. In today's age of major sports, they're starting to get to this area. You're starting to get to this. You're getting to this era where everything is dissected to the millimeter. Baseball with the strike zones and
Sure,
and
we aren't
right.
there
But
yet
for
though
years,
in dirt track
but
racing.
for
We
years
already
and
got rid of the
years,
flag man.
right. But listen, for years and
Ain't
years, there's
there
been
yet.
attacks on officials. Get it right. They suck. They suck. They suck. They suck.
They do suck.
They're not going anywhere. Right. There's human interaction involved here. All they can do is
Hold
try to get
them
better and
accountable,
better and
though.
better. What?
Hold them accountable, because every sport you just
And do what?
mentioned, there's
And
no
do what? Fire
accountability.
them all? What do you mean?
There's no accountability. If they suck, they just don't get the ref the
Chris.
World Series or the Super Bowl. They just
There is accountability. It's the fans paying their goddamn money to show up and watch them race. There's accountability. If they keep fucking up, people aren't going to go watch.
Right.
That's the accountability. Holding them accountable is you not going into races anymore like you don't anymore.
right. But I'm saying is you're
That's what's
saying
gonna happen.
Lincoln doesn't have to admit that maybe they fucked up, or Narc the other
No.
night when they went green with
No.
this tow truck on
Oh
the
yeah,
backstretch.
the Narc thing.
Doesn't have to
too.
admit anything. No, it's fine because
What,
fuck it.
maybe
Baseball
public
doesn't give a
statement-
shit if Hernandez can see a strike or not. Are you shitting me? Like, no, if you make a mistake, own it. That's what builds trust in your racetrack and your officiating crew. Or else
Because
you
they're
have these
not
things.
internally. Just because it's not public, they don't have to make a press release saying they fucked up. Maybe they're fixing it internally.
You want your fans to trust you? You want your fans to
Maybe,
trust
maybe
your
not.
officiating crew when they DQ the presumed favorite child and then give him his spot back? That's not how you build fan trust. Are you shitting me?
No shit. That's what I'm saying. That's the
But
accountability.
Flow Racing
Chris.
kills it. Flow Racing
don't
kills
go.
it. I'm
But
not
you know
gonna
what?
go.
Everybody's going to continue to go to hate it or love it.
I'm just saying. Using Lincoln as an example here, bless their heart. It's no different than Williams Grove before. You want to build trust to get fans to come back, do the right thing. Just admit you made a mistake.
They changed the rules and made a press release.
Who did?
Williams Grove.
What about
Well, the
Lincoln, though?
Jumpstart rule.
What's their
It was
press release?
it was all of them. This is different. They don't have to really change the rule here. What
No,
are
they
gonna
need
come out
to
and say?
explain why he wasn't DQ'd.
I don't think it'll do anything. I don't think it helps at all.
Chris got so fired up, I had to bring back the fire off
Well,
logo. I haven't brought this back in
It
like
won't
a
do
year.
anything because, like, what are we doing here? You can't have it both ways. You can't attack a track for whatever reason. They can do whatever the hell they want, and then you just, nah, it's fine. They fixed it. Didn't tell us why he was DQ'd, why he wasn't DQ'd. It's just Lincoln. Sorry about your luck, bud. Fuck Williams Grove, though, for, trying. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Tyler, again, less drama. Every finishing car in a race must scale. Yeah, you're right. Everyone knows it. But he was waved off the scales, I heard. That's what
allegedly. Who the fuck has said that? Lincoln didn't say that.
Well, he allegedly missed the scales, too.
Yeah. He allegedly missed the scales.
And he allegedly was waved off the scales. So what's right?
Lincoln, do something. Tell us the truth, Lincoln. I know you're listening.
Apparently, they didn't have to do anything because they got what they feel is a call right.
The hell do they care? End of the day, he didn't win. Danny's not there to stop him.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's frustrating, but if it wasn't Freddie Raymer, I don't think we're.
It doesn't make it right, but yes, in this scenario, Lincoln needs to step up, just like Williams Grove would do, just like Port Royal would do. Hopefully, step up and explain where they went wrong. Yes, if this is, bless his heart, Jordan Givler, yes, we're not having this conversation. But Freddie Raymer is already a lightning rod at your racetrack, just like Danny Dietrich. It's under criticism, just like when Brad Sweet was getting scaled and Kevin House didn't do it. It's the same idea.
Now he doesn't have a job.
If that's Chase Randall,
unfortunately.
Right? If that's Chase Randall, I don't know if it's so critiqued.
I think it would be.
I mean, I think it is, but not to the level of Brad Sweet or Kyle Larson, whatever it is. It looks bad, right? Perception is part of the rule, right? It's perception. If you already have a perception of you favor a certain driver, you're under a microscope. Recognize that. Read the room.
It comes down to training and communication in officials.
If you're doing everything right.
Jeremy's 100% spot on too. These are human calls. These are humans. There's not everything is black and white.
Just tell us.
So I get you. I get it.
Just tell us though. Like, I get it. It's human stuff, but it's not balls and strikes. Someone waved them off. All you have to say is someone instantly waved them off.
Well,
you gave him a spot back. No big deal. Yes, the conversation might still be going on, but at least we can say, hey, this is our official statement. Now it's like, nope. Just magically he didn't go to the scales and magically he gets a spot back. And
I do
don't know
love
why.
it, though. Like the villain loves it that everyone hates that, or like hates that he didn't get DQ'd because he could have started at the back even further. Oh, I love it. I love the villain
still
side
finishes
of that.
fifth.
Right.
Probably does. I just love that villain side of it, bro. Like, how fired up and how happy people were at the bad thing that could have happened.
No, Brad,
I love that.
Jerry doesn't care.
I love it. Turns out Jerry overruled it. Sounds like so.
Yeah, that makes fucking sense. That adds the fuel to the fire.
Well, he did own a car that competed against the Ramers, but that's okay. Ramers are his favorite, I guess. So
yeah, he had to build a car to beat them. Duh.
Let's move on here because we could just keep going over and over about this, and also probably
getting fired up.
It probably won't be the last time we talk about something.
Congrats,
like this,
Cam Smith. Congrats, my friend.
Congrats, Cam Smith, man.
Good
You
for
deserve
Cam
it.
Smith.
Good job. let's move on to the best race of the weekend. Honestly, by far. Action track last night in Kutztown. Oh my. Wow.
I honestly
Oh.
thought you were going to talk about my Watkins Glen experience, but yeah, this makes sense.
Nobody cares about your Watkins Glen experience. I wasn't sure I was going to go to this race, and I think I saw Bobby Blazer, the first person I saw in the pits. He's like, "You just said yesterday you weren't coming," and I broke down camp, came home. On the way home, I'm like, "Man, it's such a nice day out." I regretted missing it last year. I'm going to get home in time. Going through all the stuff in my head to make it. I'm like, I'm going. And I went, and I am so happy I went. This was such an awesome race. Logan Seavey with the win after a freaking absolute Goliath versus Goliath type of battle with Briggs Danner, who knows how to get around that place in any car. Probably was faster than Logan. Just, it's such a tough track to pass on. Couldn't necessarily get around him. Made a couple moves here and there. It was just a good race. Last year went green the checker the entire time for all 40 laps. Not the same here. There's a little bit more chaos, but you don't like to see torn up race cars and stuff like that. But it was still, man, it's just seeing these big cars on that track. And I gotta give Doug Rose a lot of credit. What he does with this place, what he does with Bridgeport. Everything that they do at Action Track here, every time I've gone there now, it's been a couple years for me up until yesterday. Just everything that they do there, it's made to have bigger shows like this. It is a micro track. It has a good weekly division. But man, it is so tailored. They have worked hard to get some of these bigger shows in here with USAC when they bring the modifieds in. They tried to do the wing sprint cars a couple years ago, and that was kind of cool. Rich Tobias, sorry, but Doug Rose is involved. I saw him walking around and putting a lot of work in there. He's always all over the place. But yeah, just such a good race. Jay-Z, what'd you see?
I was at this race last year, went back this year. Barring some sort of apocalyptic event in my life, I was not going to miss this. I hate that it's on Father's Day a little bit. I want to be home with the family and spend time with the kids, but honestly, there is not, and there really isn't another race in Central PA. Based on the fact I went last year and how wild it is that they make it work and how talented these guys are and how freaking badass it is. There is no other really event in the area that would pull me away from Father's Day at home with the kids to do it, and this is the one. And it lived up to every bit of it this year again, from hot laps to time trials to heats to the feature. Every single bit of it, every freaking lap of it is awesome. And the track was fantastic. They would rework it. I love these little tracks. They can rework quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt like I was sitting around waiting. Just the atmosphere, the scenes, the track, the way it's designed. There's a lot
How
of
they
people
have
in
an
the
infield
infield
there
still see.
that could fit in so many people is still wild to me. Like,
Yeah,
it's so cool.
the place is just awesome.
Yeah.
It's a hidden gem. I don't care what. Go get to the action track. Go check it out. The facility, getting in there is easy. Getting out of there is easy. It's just a really really neat little place, and this race lived up to it, just like last year did. Went nonstop, and I don't think it was as dramatic last year with Kyle Cummins. And I was like, I don't know how they top it, to be honest with you. And they certainly freaking figured out how. CV and Danner put on a freaking show. There was passing through this race. Joey went from 20th to 10th. Everywhere you looked was something you're like, oh, oh, oh. Every lap
It
of
was
every
it was
corner
hard
of
to
every lap.
it was hard to
You didn't even
find
know what to watch. You couldn't
even
prepare to watch what was about to happen because it happened so fast.
even in the heat races. It was hard to just focus on one battle. There was so much going on all over the place,
Every
but the
corner
feature was
created a new
nuts.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so wide. They go up the hill, they come down the hill, the short way, the long way, the sliders, the cut downs, um, banging wheels or more. But Briggs Danner was better than Logan Seavey.
Mm-hmm.
Briggs Danner just needed to get the lead a
And
full
hold it.
lap, and he probably wins the race going away. Just couldn't quite finish it off with momentum. And if you have flow and you didn't watch this, go back and watch it. Go back and watch this race. If you didn't, shame on you. I don't even care what kind of cars you like or don't like. And if you're watching this and you're not a race fan, go become a race fan, because that will turn you into a race fan. As cool as Silver Crown is at Port, this is equally as cool.
And it's the complete opposite.
Doing this in a whole different way,
Yeah.
in an entirely different way. It is. If this continues to be a thing, I will be there every year until I can't be
Yes.
there.
Same.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I won't miss this ever again. I regretted missing it the first year, and then after going yesterday, I just and they ran an efficient show for a Monday night. I mean, it was all Sunday night. Sorry, Sunday night. It was done by 10 o'clock. At least the USAC feature was. I didn't stay for the micros.
Wait, what?
Big car ego.
You're saying that I stayed for the micros and Jimmy didn't?
I did not stay for the micros.
I don't even, man, look at me. Look at me
Hey.
watching micros.
Yeah, good for you.
I stayed, didn't have to.
Big car ego.
Big car ego, man.
Crazy.
When I first heard, speaking of big car ego, when I first heard 62 micros, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Don't like that.
I mean, I know micros always get a big car count there, but I like the format that they do, and it was efficient. It helps that they have starters and everything, obviously. But they kept it moving, and I didn't feel like I was sitting there forever watching 15,000 heats and 5 B mains, even though there were 6 heats. There was a non-qualifiers race and 3 B mains, I think.
3 B.
It didn't feel that way. It didn't feel that way, and they did they do a really good job of keeping it moving. As soon as they take that checker flag, they're crossing the track going over as the other next heat's coming on. They're very efficient with it. Obviously, it's their weekly thing. They know. Just do a fantastic job. You Kevin Thomas Jr. in a micro, a couple other big names in there. Who do you know who even won the micro? I don't know who won the micro race. Sorry. But they still put on the heats and the B mains. They still put on a good show. The track was pretty locked down to the bottom for them compared to maybe normal weeks where they could use more of the track, just because of how heavy they had to keep it for the sprint cars, since they just tear it up. But yeah, back to the sprint cars. Carmen Perigo, unfortunately, friend of the show here, got caught up in a deal. Got caught up in a bad deal in the back and ended up being out of the race. Brady Bacon looked good. I thought he only had a tire go down, but I guess something else also broke.
He just pulled in across and never saw him again.
I don't know if it's because
you're
going to go back there once you change the tire. What's the point? Why
was he not the points leader going into this night?
He was, which was kind of shocking, but something else had to be wrong there. He was the points leader for Eastern Storm going into it. That ended up going to Mitchell Moles, who finished third. So congratulations to him. There was a good battle between him, Justin Gratt, Daison Purlsey, who got to top 5. Joey, again, 20th
his
to
name,
10th.
Jimmy. Joey what?
Amantia.
Amantia, idiot.
Amantia.
Amantia.
That's
you said Amanta. You said Amanta.
I just said Amantia.
You said onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
I just said Amantia.
The second
you said
time.
Amania.
Jimmy. Amantia.
Don't hold me against because of my accent. I said it the right way.
What accent do you have?
I just said an O instead of an A. Whatever dude. 20th to 10th. And fuck you guys. You guys could start doing all this then. If I keep saying names wrong, then
just Amantia.
Hopefully, Joey learns to qualify soon so he can start 10th and win a damn race. He said that last week, right? He said, "Hey, I got to figure out qualifying. I got to get it figured out." So that comes with time. But man, did he pass the most cars this week? Like multiple hard chargers,
and starting towards 20th and getting himself up into top 10. I think at least 4 times last week. Just nuts. on a track like that, yeah, there was some attrition, but he still had to avoid it all and get up there. And he was involved in one early, but he was still able to stay out there and get a top 10. So shout out to him too.
Shout out to Manta.
Anyway, so this was awesome. Can't wait to have it next year.
That's
I think
got it.
USAC was hyped, right? USAC was hyped for it. Just super cool all around. Um, but yeah, it was quick, it was efficient. They had some yellows in this, but they were able to get back to green fairly quickly. Really wasn't a big deal there. But I will say this race ended and they all came in to go across the track and leave. And somebody with Daison Purlsey's crew, might have been Daison's dad, was pissed at Justin Grant. And I thought they were going to fight in the crossover in the infield. He was hot and Grant was so confused.
Wasn't the only person pissed off at Grant either.
Correct.
Was it
that
Cummins?
earlier in the night?
I think it was Cummins.
It was where's he
Stocking?
Wasn't it? Yeah,
Was
it was Chase in the heat.
Yeah,
up on the wall. It was Chase Stockton in the heat. And honestly, I don't know. He can be upset and mad, but kind of got in the wall before before Grant got up there. But maybe Grant was going to close the door anyway. There, I don't know. So yeah, it was. That's your short track racing for you, right?
yeah. Tyler says, and we were having this conversation earlier today. Midgets should be badass there in August. The only other time I was ever there to Action Track was to see USAC Midgets years ago. It was either 2019 or 2020. I can't remember, but it was a great race. And it was so badass there. I can't wait to see Midgets there. I think that's on a Wednesday night. Maybe I'll try to get there because now it's almost worth the extra drive and being a little bit tired at work or something the next day because it was just so much fun. But we were talking about this, man, instead of micros, man, if they can do USAC Midgets and USAC sprint cars as a show, that would be huge. And it would be so good. It'd be great. But I know that would be kind of crazy to try to pull off. And it would be hard for these USAC teams as well. Path Valley that Friday. Yeah, that's the only thing with the Action Track is that everything, they have a couple Sunday shows, I think, but they're mostly a Wednesday night track. So, yeah, it's an awesome track, and seeing big cars on it. We don't. I think part of it is we don't have a lot of bull rings around here, so it kind of makes it a little bit extra because we're used to seeing all the big, fast, long straightaways, and then seeing something like that where you're basically there almost. You could keep the car turned pin, sideways the entire way around the track, because there practically isn't any straightaway for the big cars. So, yeah, just a really great race, great way to cap off Eastern Storm, a very successful Eastern Storm. No rainouts, good shows all week. Daniel Lee says maybe Midgets at the new track being built behind BAPS. You were there this past week. How's the progress looking on that?
I don't know. I assume it's turns 1 and 2 are fully formed. The banking is there. The backstretch pits look totally different because they're gone. Where teams always parked when you first came around the corner, to go down the backstretch off of turn 2, that's all gone. The pits are all moved back further. You can't even park up higher toward turn 2. They're all parking down back by the woods in the new pit area. Because the track comes out, it's just one single lane now that goes down behind turn 2 off the backstretch. I saw some fencing going up this week from their updates, so they're moving right along. I don't know how much more it needs to be able to have a race attended on, but in a matter of a week or two, from what I did see to what I saw this past week, lots of progress made. So, hopefully, we can still see it this year.
Yeah, they have a Hyper Speed Week date coming up in, is it the end of July or August? would be kind of projecting to be their first race. It's a big show because you're going to get a friggin' 100 micros. So that would be interesting. That would be a good test if they can get it done in time. That's kind of the clock that they're up against. Which Hyperspeed Week, I'm excited to try to get to a couple races because I live pretty close to Grandview. I went last year. I got to see some hot laps and then it rained out. So I'm hoping I can get there this year, maybe some others because, a month from now is 600 Speed Week. So they have about a month to get it ready, and that would definitely be one to watch. Real quick, some other things. World of Outlaws. The big, obviously, lots of cars out at Knoxville. Corey Day won on Saturday. And I didn't see anything from this. I loosely followed all this stuff because I was more, paying attention to USAC and everything around here. Who won the first night?
Where?
I don't remember. Knoxville. Was it Gio?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
But Corey Day won the second night. But I was reading some things on Twitter that they were they literally censoring when anybody said high limit? They would cut it out. I don't know if anybody.
Not for Corey Day, at least, because he said high limit. Because I think I saw the same tweet. Wikipedia said someone at Dirt Vision was sleeping at a sensor control because he said high limit and they did not censor it. I don't know who won Friday.
Crazy to me. That's crazy to me that they're even doing that. Cut me a break, dude.
And it's weird. It's a very one-sided thing on that.
Yes.
They announced Brad Sweet as a 5-time World of Outlaw winner when they introduce him every race.
Yep.
Sure.
Chase Rodman goes 5-time World of Outlaw champion, Brad Sweet, at every race. They don't go out of their way to mention World of Outlaws, but they announce their guy that owns the series.
They acknowledge that it exists
as a headliner and say he's a 5-time World of Outlaw champ.
But at the same time, that also helps High Limit a little bit more with their credibility. Because I
was gonna go with it. Yes, it's petty and it's stupid. I agree, but a 5-time World of Outlaws champion leading your race. That carries more weight than a winner of a series that we don't know that's going to make it past its efficiency. So,
I could see trying to avoid, giving them a nudge, saying, "Hey, let's not talk too much about High Limit because it is our show."
It's just as petty
but
as Rico.
To just say you can't mention it at all, and we're going to censor it if you do, that is crazy. Because you can't avoid it, especially when you have that many good cars at a race like that. They're off for 2 weeks. They're going to be at your shows trying to take your money, and they did. They just did on Saturday, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it here so shortly. Houston's coming up, big money there, almost $1 million up for grabs all week. They're coming there to take that money too. You're just going to avoid it, I don't know.
It's a weird flex, but it's no different than Brent Marks taping over Hoosier on his wing, right? That happened.
That's
Rico,
different. No,
Rico,
that's different. That's way different.
That was totally different.
That's totally different. That is
How is that
nothing
any
like
different?
this case.
He was
pissed off at the product.
Tires.
Yeah, he was pissed off at the product.
All right, easy, fella.
That he is forced to run.
What about Rico ripping off the NOS ban because of the rowdy stuff? This is a direct competitor.
He's paid to do that.
Who the fuck you think pays Corey Day? And who the fuck you think pays Dirt Vision?
You got this. You are way off base.
Yeah, you're way.
Are you even awake?
Competition, buddy. It's competition. That's
it's not
what it
competition.
Is.
No.
What do you mean?
It is competition. When Rico's getting a Hoosier band on, that's competition. You're out of
your fucking mind.
And the Hoosier thing was a protest because they had such bad quality and they were wasting.
Sure.
And a lot of teams were pissed off on how much money they were wasting on really bad tires.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of people that are still not very happy with Hoosier, but at least it's gotten a little bit better with the new tire. But that was a protest against them. It wasn't, I'm going to go run your series, take your money, and not mention you.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
From Dirt Vision side, from World Racing Group side, it's the same fucking thing.
If you want to censor it, don't allow them to race.
You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
You
You can
can't
make
do
shit
that.
invite only. You can invite
can't.
everybody that's not high limit.
You can't do
That's
that.
Why not?
competition.
No, what you
They're
should do is
competition.
get your people better. I agree with that, but I'm not saying it's right. I get why they would do it.
I don't. There's no money lost by saying the word high limit. They were watching your broadcast. What are you going to do? Everybody that's has a Dirt Vision subscription. Everyone has a Dirt Vision subscription watching a World of Outlaw race. You think they don't know high limit exists? You think it's a fucking
Right.
backdoor thing? They're like, what's high limit? And maybe I'll go check that out and go take my business to flow. Are you kidding me?
I didn't say it was a good idea. I'm saying as I
Fucking kidding me?
understood what they're doing. It's
No,
no
no.
different than
It's-
Nas
it's-
being so butthurt about Rowdy. It's the same idea.
It's
We know who
it's
the
the
fuck
Richard-
Nas energy drink is.
it's the Richard Petty of petty, bro. That's what it is. They're being childish about it because
It's the
they're
same
butthurt
fucking
that
thing.
it exists. No,
It's not.
Nas
no,
energy
no.
drink didn't want
No.
Rowdy in victory lane.
That's literally a monetary sponsorship.
Yes.
That's literally monetary sponsorship. This is just mentioning these guys go drive at high limit.
Jimmy Johnson used to
And they're
knock the
beating
Gatorade bottles or
right.
Powerade bottles off. You know what I
a
mean?
high
That's-
limit guy wins a World of Outlaw race.
That's
What's
a
the better
driver
series?
who has a sponsorship with a competitor,
What's the better series?
not the announcer just ignoring that a series even exists.
The only one
They're
that I'll give
same
you
thing.
is Larson wearing the only one that I'll give you is Larson wearing flow on his shit, right? In a Dirt Vision broadcast and being on Dirt Vision. That would be the only thing that makes your argument relevant, not a series. Not
High
a
Limit
series
is
that is
fully
out there.
supported by Flow Racing. Are you shitting me? It's
What's-
their
what are you
Castro
talking
Night in
about?
America for sprint cars. It is a direct
What?
competitor to World Racing Group and World of Outlaws.
So
So you're just not going to acknowledge that they run that series?
I'm not saying
Or you're going to
it's
censor
a
out?
genius idea.
like
I'm
that?
saying
why would-
is I get why they wouldn't want to acknowledge it.
well, why would they acknowledge a guy that runs for IRA coming in and
Right.
racing?
Because
That's
they can kick
competition.
their ass.
It's a competitive.
No,
and
that's
it's a
not right.
regional
That's bullshit.
series. It's a regional
So?
series at best.
It's a competitive series.
Literally, a trained monkey in a sprint car with a
course.
high budget team could go win IRA right now.
They never
That
did
has-
this with
that-
the All
That
Stars.
should have nothing to do with it.
Because the
They
All
also-
Stars are a regional series. And look, the only guys from All Stars that are even remotely competitive, Zeb Wise, Tyler Courtney.
Does not matter. So
It does
what you're
matter.
basically saying is no, it doesn't. You're
It does
basically
matter.
saying that they're worried about high limit in their competition. They're
That's a
worried
straight
about
up
it.
competition. It's a straight up national tour competition. Yes, I'm saying that. That's what they're worried about them. It's a straight up competition, head to
Oh,
head.
they're
pretty
very
worried about
worried.
We
because
are-
you just said they'll freely
might
say
be worried.
IRA and All Stars because they're not worried.
Because they're regional. Completely different type of deal.
No, it's a national touring series. They All Stars said
Bill-
it in their tagline.
All Stars were never national, and they fucking knew it.
They claim to be themselves.
I don't give a shit what they
Self-
claim to be. They went Ohio,
Oh.
PA, Iowa for 2.5 days,
More
and then
Chris
called
Logic
themselves
here.
national.
What did Oklahoma and Texas?
No one gives
No.
a shit about the Midwest, okay?
You want to know why? Because the Outlaws never felt threatened by the All Stars.
No,
That's
do.
why they mentioned it.
This is not the
They never
All Stars,
felt-
though.
It is the All. They bought their
It's
equipment. They
not.
bought all their shit.
Holy
They bought
fuck!
the series.
You think High Limit is the All Stars?
Who did Tony get paid? Yeah. Did they buy all their trucks and shit? Yeah. They sure did. Did they take most of their people? Yeah. What do you think this is? It's the same thing with a different
Did
fucking
your
name. They
line
went more
end
naturally-
there, or did you not realize
went-
that they're absolutely targeting the Outlaws as their competition, or did you just forget
Well,
about
sure.
the
No, no,
big
no.
money,
They're-
High Limit
they're-
room, everything
they're
else?
adding
They're
to the
absolutely
national sprint-
targeting the Outlaws.
No, they're adding to the national
They're
sprint car
targeting the
scene.
Outlaws.
Only the Outlaws are the ones feeling targeted, and you
Right.
apparently.
And listen, I
Are
can
you
understand them shine.
They're targeting the Outlaws.
Why?
They've
They
said
don't even
it.
race. They don't race at the same places.
They follow them around the country for half the season. Are you shitting
Follow
me?
anybody around the country. They're in different areas of the
Mm.
country.
Oh, fuck off. They're not. Oh, fuck off, dude.
What are you talking
They're-
about?
They straight up are trolling the Outlaws by following them around the country for half the season. The All Stars stay to the East Coast, minus that weird Iowa swing. And even
I
then,
didn't know High Limit was here a week after the Outlaws.
do you not read the schedule, or you just being a fucking troll.
They haven't even ran at barely the same tracks this season.
They don't have to run the same tracks, be in the same region.
I know they might actually go where the weather makes sense to go. I know geographically that's wild, but yeah, okay. Keep trying.
Well, they don't. Chris sounds like he needs a hug. I understand if they want if they're going to give them a nudge and say, hey, why don't you shy away from talking too much about it? But to completely censor them and completely
to go out of their way to do the opposite, right?
It's just
to go
nuts
out of their
to me.
way.
It's just nuts.
To go out of their way to just ban those words from everything.
Yeah,
if
don't
it came
ban
up
the words
in a conversation, it came up wherever, they made it very clear that they mentioned that the All-Star thing, they work together, right? The All-Stars and the Outlaws work together a lot. They made it very clear. They've made it very clear they don't want to work with High Limit. High Limit
poster drivers.
So the drivers had a choice.
Oh,
Brent Marks had a choice to go drive in Pennsylvania. He didn't want to be with the Outlaws. He didn't get poached by anyone.
Right.
They have a choice.
Which,
they
by
now
the way,
had a
looks
choice.
like
They've never had a choice. They have a choice.
Yep.
I mean, competition's a bad thing.
No, I'm not even saying that, but I get from the World Racing Group side why you'd be a little threatened by another series directly competing with you.
It is being petty because they're threatened. You said it wasn't.
No, it's competition. Oh,
but they're being threatened, but they also are following the Outlaws around. So which one is it? Which one's the dominant here? Which one's the
we don't know who the dominant is. High Limit has no prestige, has no history. So yes, they're maybe second right now, but they're absolutely piggybacking on NASCAR and the Outlaws. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, Marie.
I'm not saying
sense, right?
I'm not saying it's a bad business decision. I'm saying it's a direct. It's
crazy,
a direct
right?
decision.
They got a better deal to go race somewhere else to take care of their businesses. Wild, right?
If you're at a World of Outlaws, though, you see them absolutely directly impacting your business.
Sure.
They did just take away your five-time champion.
So go be better.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Do
better.
Outlaws, so focus on being better, not censoring your
censoring and bleeping shit.
Yeah, I understand.
If you really want to censor,
I get why they're doing it. I'm not even saying is this the right or wrong. I'm saying is I get why they're doing it.
I don't get
it's
it.
It's just
though.
Stupid. They go
I
do
don't
better.
Get it. Because then why aren't you doing what High Limit does? And then when you do go beat High Limit, we beat the shit out of them. We're better.
It's what Posse does.
Right.
Because Posse beats the shit out of both of them. But fuck them. But I'm saying,
except when they don't. But okay,
yeah.
Except for those times, we don't.
And that's what makes a rivalry. It goes back and forth. It's not just one-sided. All right,
it's dumb.
High Limit has to prove themselves first. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Real quick, thanks to Tony Sharp and PA Dirt Track and Creative for making these graphics. Real quick look at the top 10 of the Central PA Sprint Car points. Some kind of regional series or something like that. I don't know if you want to call it that. Maybe World of Outlaws would censor us talking about this. I don't know. Danny Dietrich's still on top even after going out to Ohio Speed Week, which he had an up and down week. We're not going to get too much into that. We're already past 2 hours here, so we're going to kind of wrap this up. Freddie second, Troy third, Macri, Borden, Wolf, Dietz, Stutz, Lance DeWeese, and Cam Smith getting into the top 10. So, looking ahead to this week, on top of PA here, speaking of the World of Outlaws, you do have the Houston High Bank Nationals. It was over $800,000 purse total over the 4 days. Kind of split into two-day shows. The first, is it Wednesday and Thursday? I think it goes. Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday's a $20,000 to win show. Thursday will be $100,000 to win. Friday will be another $20,000 to win show. Saturday will be the big $250,000 to win show. So a lot of money up for grabs there. It's pretty cool that they're doing it. I'm not a fan of Houston, to be completely honest. It seems kind of cool, but I just don't think it puts on great racing. Just my opinion. Maybe they will change their mind here when they get 80 cars and have a lot of money on the line, but
sounds like rubber to me.
Yeah, that too. But here back in PA, where the good racing will be at, hopefully, Williams Grove Yellow Breeches 500 race on Friday. Now, these are all going to be kind of Yellow Breeches. They don't do time trials, do they?
Yes.
No.
They do.
Hot laps.
Yes.
Hot laps. I think.
Hot like yeah. So you're going to see some probably time trials this week because next week, then following week, PA Speed Week. So Yellow Breeches 500 and a 358 Summer Series race at Williams Grove. That's a good card. 410s to 358s, always fun. Jim Klein tribute race at Port Royal. Speaking of High Limit, High Limit actually put out a graphic before we went on the show on who's going where of their series since they're off. A lot of them going to Huset's. Some of them going out to Skagit because it's their Dirt Cup. Some going to run IRA and Maverick. We got Brett Marks coming back home, so he has listed at least on there that he's running Grove and Port Royal this weekend. So if you are a Brett Marks fan, get out to the track this weekend. He supposedly be here to run. Definitely keep an eye on social medias to make sure that confirms. But High Limit put it out, so I feel like that's pretty trustworthy. And then Lincoln will have a tune-up for Speed Week with a PA Speed Week format, 410s and 358s. Right? 358s? Yes. So you could catch Williams Grove on Dirt Vision, Port Royal on Flow, and then get your ass to Lincoln if you want to go see that. Also on Saturday, free admission at Stevens Grove Speedway. This is a little bit different. You got the topless limited late model makeup feature, or they have a makeup feature and another one. IMCA Modifieds, Roadrunner 20. They're packed the track night. Free general admission. You cannot beat that. Don't have to pay anything. So if you're in the area, definitely go check it out. Pretty cool thing. You don't see that very often. Just them letting people in for free. So that's pretty cool. And then also on Saturday, BAPS. They have Wingless Super Sportsman Series. 2 features. Their makeup from the 410 race earlier this year that they ended up getting rated out. They're going to make up that feature and also have a whole nother show. What else is racing there, Chris? URC
62 modifies and 360 URC 360s are going to be there. I will be at BAPS. Brett Perigo is apparently racing 2 features. We shall see. But I'll be at BAPS on Saturday. Can't wait. But yeah, URC 360s and 602 modifieds. $17 to get in. General admission.
$17 and you still, URC 360s, they're probably going to get a couple cars. You know what I mean?
Gonna be a good show.
Yeah.
And you think about that, 4 features, 2 wingless sportsman features. You have that makeup from April, I think 14th. And then a whole new Racing for Outreach race. And that series is special. Thinking Binder race is always a special event, for suicide awareness and things like that.
Keep going, Chris.
That's it.
Nope, keep going.
Oh, Steve Wilbur. Oh, good to know. Steve Wilbur and I and Tony Sharp going to be on the show on Thursday, 7 p.m. Steve Wilbur just won at Harrisburg, I think, or Hagerstown. My bad. This is 2 out of 3 for him. Beat Trent Yoder. Trent Yoder had a tough night, finished second, but Steve Wilbur, Superman, wins Hagerstown last weekend in the wingless. So join himself, me, and Tony Sharp, 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Hey, do you think Friday night at Williams Grove, it's on Dirt Vision, and a high limit guy wins the race? Do you think they'll bleep it out on the broadcast?
Brent Marks.
Why?
He's
high limit. It's on Dirt Vision.
Yeah, well,
oh,
he's posse though.
Their competition. Oh, but he's
one
not.
of ours. He is though.
Oh, okay.
And there's
checking.
fireworks.
All right, go ahead.
Go, Chris.
Go where? Sports 100. Super Sports 100. Lap money. $10 minimum buy-in. Get your laps. I know us 3 have all purchased a bunch of laps. Luke Linker did not get his lap that he wanted, which was a weird one. But buy laps. $10 minimum.
He wanted lap 69, didn't he?
I think he did. Even though he drives a 38 double D. But yes. Get your laps. Send Tony Sharp or contact Bass Motor Speedway. Super Sportsman 100 Fan Fest. It's going to be fun. I'm trying to convince Jimmy Barr to get there. Can the fans convince Jimmy and Jeremy to show up?
Listen, that we have a lot of internal discussion to
Oh.
talk about that weekend because
Well,
that's
that's
where
a Saturday. We have time ish.
well,
maybe.
There's a lot of stuff and that we're pretty excited to talk about when we could finally finalize everything. But that whole weekend's going to be pretty big for us. So
that's a big Saturday. The first ever Super Sportsman 100 Fan Fest presented by Chad Baker Plumbing. Hoping to have a cornhole tournament starting at 10 a.m. and then Fan Fest 12 o'clock. We'll have some raffle prizes and things like that, and then a round table. We got some guests and the rolling round table. Former 100 winners. J.R. Fry, Larry Jackson, John Murphy, hosted by John Crawl. Should be a good time. I can't wait to be there. I'll be there all day, hanging out, studying the ways. There'll be race cars there, right? It's gonna be a good time. I love that event for one. That event is cool as shit to be a part of. But you'll be there all day, kind of like parking lot party starting at 10 a.m. It's gonna be like a tailgate from 10 a.m. on. And then after that rolling round table, get the rolling pre-race show. Because why not? It's a big show. You have a pre-race show presented by Reese's Soft Ice Cream. Also, John Crawl is the guy. We're going to have some guests there. I'm hoping to have some good ones. Probably Kenny Edkin. He didn't agree to it yet, but we're going to bully him. But, he has a hot dog roller, and we had his brother John on last week, and he loves snow cones. Maybe we can turn him into an ice cream guy. And then right before pit gates open, raffle drawing for the baskets. All the teams are buying into that. It's going to be a good time. And then pit gates open at 4. It's the 50th annual Sports 100.
It's a big one.
It's a big event.
It is 100 laps, Steph. That is why they call
100
it
100 laps. And it's cool because it's kind of like a Silver Crown race. Right? They have time trials. Top 12 will lock in to the main event. And then dual heat races and to fill out the field. So it's really cool. One of the coolest events that I saw last year. The stress level when you're watching those guys try to time their way in the top 12 is something different for that division, right? So I love it. And can't wait to get back there.
Mark your calendars, August 31st. There's a lot of racing going on that weekend, but that might be one of the better events.
And
so definitely
I will be there. I'll be there signing autographs and on behalf of Jimmy and Jeremy.
Hey, I never said I wasn't going. Just we got some things to iron out first.
I did.
I never said I wasn't going, but quick question from Steph. For you guys, since you're always in the pits, do you think our boys would be okay in the pits, or should we maybe just have a date night and go to the pits to experience it first? Justin and I want to keep wanting to go to the pits, but our kids just don't pay attention when walking. Yes.
Are we referring? What are we referring to? Because my answer is different based on pits at a 410 race. Then yes, keep them close by and have their head on a swivel.
Pits are good if you're going. Don't honestly. When I go to the pits, I'll go before. Once they start going out for like hot laps, I stick to the pit bleachers, or I go somewhere else. I try not to, unless I'm with a team. I don't really walk around the pits too much because you got to keep your head on a swivel, and it depends on the pits too. Some of these tracks, they have really tight. It's a little chaotic. Some are better than others. Jay-Z, you have any recommendations? I would definitely say the adults go first. It's definitely more for adults, but it is cool to have. And they also have, keep an eye out for a lot of these tracks. They have the fan appreciation nights where they open up the pits. That's really the time to bring the kids in. Before and after the races are great to bring the kids in. Is it really worth the extra money for you to pay for a pit pass? That's totally up to you. But I would not be in there when they're trying to race. They're focused on working on the car. The cars are coming in and out. You got to be really responsible in there.
Yeah, I think this really depends on what you want to get out of that. Because if your goal is to stay in the pits all night, and you're not going to see very good racing because most places don't have great places for you to go watch when you're as a pit paying member. So typically, here's where I go with this. Even when I started going into pits the last couple of years to do photography, I'd go in the pits, I'm there early. Racing starts, I'm gone. I'm trying not to be around when cars are moving.
Same.
I don't want to get myself put in a bad spot. If I'm not paying attention, talking to someone, I'm standing in the wrong place. I feel confident if I go in there now, but I still stop. When cars start moving and they're running, I stop, find a place to go, and I stand there. I'm still not trying to walk while cars are moving. And I feel like I'm a veteran of being around in the pits at this point. So it really depends on what you're trying to get out of that, Steph. If you really want to be a spectator in the pits, no, I don't think your kids need to be in there all evening, in my opinion. There's just it's kids, right? They whatever. So BAPS, maybe you could do pits, and there's a big pit grandstand. You can hang out
Yes.
back there when the racing's going on. Lincoln's pit stands aren't that great for visibility in that
No,
corner.
they're
They're
terrible.
okay, but it's not that great. Williams
ones
Grove,
aren't bad.
there's a big grandstand down the backstretch of
Port
Williams
Royals
Grove.
is great.
Port Royal's pit stands are great, but I still would say I don't think it's worth the extra money for you, Steph, for just that pre-race pit walk. I would do that for maybe you and your husband. That's fine, and then go find a seat. But for your kids, I don't think it's any worth because if you can go in after and your kids are awake, go in after, and it's free. You don't need a pit pass to go in after the races, and they can go. I just don't foresee there's a lot for them to do or you to get entertainment value out of while the racing's happening, and all it does is put you in more risk of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So
It is cool being there. If you got to keep your head on a swivel, but if there's certain spots at certain tracks that you could stop and like the cars are passing by you, it's really cool to see. You can kind of see from afar kind of what's going on, but you can make it. You just being there can make it more chaotic, make it more congested if you don't need to be there. So,
I mean, I want to jump in here. What you guys both said. I love going in there early when they're unloading and everything's kind of lax. But once it starts, business is booming. I don't like being there unless, like Jimmy said, I'm a part of helping Brett or whoever scrape mud. If I don't have to be there, you're just in the way.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where you're supposed to be and you don't really have a purpose there, so they don't really know how to react around you. So, like for me, I'll do it if we're there early, go through the pits, do our deal, and then we get the hell out. To be honest, even us, like we get the hell out. Like even Jeremy, you get the hell out. You go to the infield, do your photography thing. Jimmy and I are wherever we gotta be.
Yeah.
It's nice to have to come back, but like if we don't have a team, we're not there.
Yeah, and Brad says you also need to know how to pitch track.
Yeah,
how
that's
tracks
huge.
work. That's for one, but two, also you don't know unless you go there. So, BAPS is a good one. Port is a good one. Those would be two, though. I say you have a lot more space, and you have that separate grandstand that really makes you feel like you're in the pits, and you could kind of stay in those grandstands and be not in the way. But unless you really have anything to do, like there's a lot of people that I will say there are people that go, they get the pick pass, and they just sit in the grandstands all night, and that's cool because you're in a different grandstand, you get a different point of view that you normally get. If you want to do that, cool. Just as racing action is going on, try to stay away from the trailers and watch where you're walking. That'd be it. So, weekend plans. Chris, you said you're going to BAPS. JZ, what's your plans this weekend, or don't you know?
I'm going to Williams Grove and BAPS, to be clear.
I think just Williams Grove this week for me. I got some family stuff going on this weekend. I hate that I'd miss, whatever. But, duty calls. We got to do things here at the house. And
we also got
a lot of weeks. So there's a lot coming up. So, I'd rather, if I had it my way, I'd rather go see something on a Saturday night than a Friday night. But being Friday night and 358s, try to get up to Williams Grove this week. And that might be it for me this week.
Yeah. I might go to Port on Saturday, or I might go to BAPS on Saturday. I'm not sure. Other than that, that's probably it. Maybe I go to Selinsgrove since it's free. I don't know. That's pretty cool. But I'll probably try to find something on Saturday. But it's going to be hot. Stay cool out there. It's going to be real hot this week, guys, and going through the weekend.
Two things, Jimmy, though. Yes, it's hot. Friday, fireworks. Williams Grove. I know there's like two divisions of sprint cars in Summer Series.
Is this a joke?
It was my daughter's selling point, fella. There's fireworks. She was pissed off the other week when I showed her a video of fireworks. So I'm so really happy to have fireworks this week. She's all in. But Saturday, BAPS though. double wingless sportsman features.
Yep.
Make up from April 14th.
That's gonna be
Plus-
great. I wish that was televised or broadcast somewhere. I'd
Yeah.
purchase and tune into that.
I would also do that, except I'm going to be there with URC 360 602 mods.
Yeah.
Dave
I'll
says,
be there.
Man, that'd be great.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Dave says, see you Friday, Jay-Z.
Yes, sir.
Marie says, I am taking this week off, 9 days in Indiana. She was there for Midget Week. And then the storm, like I just said, Daison, who was supposed to be on the show tonight, he's just now tonight being able to kind of look back and celebrate on his Midget Week because he had to come right in the Eastern Storm. So I'm sure everybody.
We just want to point out that
there.
Marie did not bring the rain back with her.
Yeah.
So good job, Marie.
Brad says, see y'all in about a month. Good luck, buddy.
Yep, see you in August, sir.
Yeah, see you in
Can't
August.
wait. Hope it all goes well. Keep in touch.
We'll be somewhere this weekend. We can never make it work to Williams Grove due to work schedule. I just want to bring this up quick. I know we've been on for 2.5 hours, but it was funny. I don't know if they're watching. I was at Kutztown yesterday, and as I'm walking in, I have my Lance DeWeese shirt on, and someone asked if I was local, not to the track, just to Central PA. And I said, yeah, and two guys from Delaware say that they were not really kind of happy with how late Williams Grove ran on Friday, and that's why they don't really go there. And I'm like, well, that was kind of an anomaly because of the rain. This past week, the week before, they were done by 10 o'clock with everything.
That's not true.
What's not true?
I was Williams Grove the week before. I was driving home from fishing when I saw the 58 feature end at 11:15. But carry on.
When the hell was that?
The week before last Friday?
No. So 3 weeks ago?
Whatever weekend I was
3
fishing.
weeks. That's 3 weeks ago, buddy. You don't go to the races anymore, so I know you
Hey,
forget.
listen here. Jay-Z, you shut your whore mouth.
I was there and was home by 11:30.
Yeah.
Home by 11.
Yeah.
All right, home by 11.
Anyway, carry on.
So they do usually a pretty good job. Sometimes they do dick around. I get it, but just want to give a shout out to them. I'm like, hey, by the way,
it was 3 weeks
I'm on a podcast on Monday nights today where we talk about this kind of stuff. So I just thought that was kind of funny. So I didn't catch their names, but two guys from Delaware. If you guys are watching, thanks for tuning in. And hope you guys get back to Williams Grove someday. But
and I do want to clarify, it was 3 weeks ago because 2 weeks ago, Jeremy took the picture of my daughter and I together. Whatever.
Yeah, it was wingless sport. It was the USAC East Coast 360s.
Yeah, whatever. Shh.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, I think I'm going to have to duct tape Chris on Thursday.
Tony.
Chris, you're not going to be with us next week.
I will not be.
So cheers to you, my friend. And then I don't really know. So me and Jay-Z will be back next week, hopefully with Daison Purlsey. We're not sure exactly about after that because it's speed week. So
I know that Monday, if it doesn't rain, I'm going to be at Lincoln. So
yes.
You guys in a month.
So
and then hold on.
No, not in a month. We're going to try to do something throughout the week. It's probably not going to be a normal show. So just kind of keep an eye out. We'll try to maybe, with speed week going on, depending on how weather goes, maybe if we get a rain out one night during the week, maybe we'll try to do something. We don't know yet, but after next week, we'll probably be off for 2 weeks for speed week. Those Mondays because we're going to need a Monday to recover too. So
sure. So
drink it or dump it real quick.
Before we do that, real quick, comment section. Tell me what to do while I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I have no plan. I'm going to land there and I'm just going to hang out. So y'all tell me what to do.
Brad says pit walks, and I think that's a great idea. Pursley's going to be testing a late model in North Carolina. That is where he's at. When he got to North Carolina, he got surprised with this dinner. So that's what he's doing. So he's a busy guy. So the fact that he even took the time to, he's going to try to get back Monday. So, but that's crazy. He's getting into a late model, man. This kid could rip in anything. So I'm excited to hear how that goes. Drink it or dump it. Dump it to my pronunciation of people's names. Christopher Knoll. And I'm going to drink it to USAC, man. They had a great week here, and I just love when Eastern Storm comes in. I wish we got to see them a little bit more, but it does make Eastern Storm a little bit more special. But just shout out to that. You guys, go ahead.
Jeremy, I'll let you have this one. You go Go run free, my little friend.
Drink it to Justin Whittall. Saturday night. That's just so cool with some of the challenges he's had, some big wrecks and health, and it was a week and a half, 2 weeks before that he wasn't able to finish the races or really got out of hot laps. So turn around the fact that he not only did but then won is pretty tremendous. So hopefully he's keeps it up right here the rest of the season, can really recover. Those things don't go away, and he's a young guy, so that's tough. Oh, dump it, man. I really could have done drink it and dump it to the same person here
Briggs.
for obvious reasons, and it's Briggs Danner, because what a freaking week, but what a freaking week it could have been.
Right.
And this guy, we know that name. We know he's really talented. We've seen him be talented in lots of different things. But I believe the country has really been put on notice. His vibe right now gives me a Corey Day, Justin Sanders 2 years ago, last year vibe, like that guy that's like, holy shit, right? Danny Sam's the last week. Like Briggs Danner is that guy right now in that world. I don't know what his future looks like. You could see him going to USAC National Tour. I could see him being a full-time wing driver because he's adapted to that pretty quickly a few times he ran this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I could do drink it or dump it to him, both of those. But I'm going to do a true drink it to Justin Whittall and dump it for me this week. Man.
Chris. For not.
Q.
About that one.
Fuck you. I was there Friday, you piece of shit.
All right.
Hell, Jimmy feels bad. He's crying in his hand right now.
I will do Briggs Danner on the dump it, just because what could have been. What could have been, man, this week. It still is great, but what could have been, right? Nobody wants to go home and feel like, oh, it was a great week, but we lost 3 races because of X, X, and X. That sucks. It does. It's got to suck. But I think everyone's being – but it's crazy that someone can have that, like a DNF and those things happen, and it's still everybody's like, whoa. But that's just kind of where I'm at with that. So go ahead, Chris.
All right. Look at Jimmy down there. Whatever. Drink it up, though. So I'll drink it. I'll drink this. 2 drink it's. Tony Jackson dominated that race. Had it not stolen away, but, slipped away. Right? And you've been waiting as a guy that's watched Tony and Scott Hess and Lori and that team dominate the Super Sportsman division. They're figuring it out. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. They're getting there. And yes, aero dependent, track prep help, but they're getting it. And it's only a matter of time, I think, till Tony Jackson wins a race. Especially at Williams Grove. Because he's a hell of a driver, right? And I also want to drink it up to Cody Lehman. What a hell of a drive. 18-3. Cody was on the show before. He got his win last year, but you just love it, right? You just love seeing that success from those 2 guys, and I'm here for it. I love new winners, and I love new success stories. So, yeah, you gotta love to see it. I also drink it for me for outrunning Jimmy's wife in a foot race because she's slow as hell.
You just have to pick the lowest hanging fruit.
That was a winning. It's a drink it. Not to her, though. I guess she sucks.
Jimmy's girlfriend? Jesus.
Oh, she's slow. She challenged me. She didn't win. You're right, Kim. I know you're in the background.
No, racing his kid.
Yep. It's not my fault, Seth.
And you couldn't even win that one cleanly.
Well, this one I did.
You had to door her.
Okay.
To win.
My 7-year-old, she got to learn hard lessons. Robin's racing. Kim and I, he had to learn too. I'm faster without shoes on. Seth, Dietrich, when you watch this, you're next. Dump it. Carmen Perigo. I don't want to do it.
Ooh,
tough
that's
weekend.
A good one. No,
tough
that was
weekend.
tough. They had a tough
weekend. I think 16th on back. Like, I hate to do it. I love Carmen.
He did finish 12th. He did finish 12th on the Silver Crown race. Came
just
up at the end, just like he always does.
Just not the weekend I think they were hoping for.
Yeah, of course.
I think they know what the problems are, but I I would venture to guess if you ask Brett and Carmen, they'd be overall disappointed with this weekend.
Yeah. Just understand that
sorry.
yesterday was all Brett's fault.
It's always Brett's fault.
No,
but
yesterday specifically was all Brett's fault.
I don't really care why. It's just always Brett's fault. But I think if you look at those results, and maybe it's a little biased because I think obviously we know them and we know their expectations. That doesn't mean it, and they'll figure it out, right? They're going to get the wins. They're going to do Parago things down the stretch. But this is not the weekend I think Carmen hoped for, and it's unfortunate.
Did you see their social media post today that
I
they
mean-
drove 850 miles and didn't leave Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to drive like everywhere.
It's not our
so
fault.
far.
They live almost in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's their life choice.
Not quite, but yeah, it's
I'm
out there.
also
It's out
blaming
west
Brett. It's always blame Brett. Okay,
So it-
Carmen's a
blame Brett.
saint. Carmen doesn't do anything wrong. Craig is like also doesn't do anything wrong. It's always Brett. Blame Brett.
That's all Brett's fault. Let's
all
get to
Brett's
some.
fault.
Let's get to some fan drink it or dump it's in here. Brad Weatherby goes drink it to Cam Smith. Absolutely, man. Just 2 in a week. You know the lid is off now. Dump it. Controversial bullshit. I can agree with that. Christopher Knoll. I said it right this time. Drink at Iowa Speedway for a good race and interesting race with the tires and a sold-out Cup race. That is pretty cool. It was cool seeing a lot of Cup people. I think Ricky Stenhouse brought his entire Cup team to Knoxville then to go watch the Outlaws, and like Cliff Daniels and stuff was there. So that's a cool little crossover. That's what you want to see. Dump it to Lincoln officials. This is all I'm going to say about that. Let's see. Mandy says, drink at the Stutz, Cam Smith and Whittle. Tony Sharp goes, drink at the Cam Smith. Just 18, graduating, got 410 feature wins this year. And dump at the Billy D and the craziness of Lincoln Calls. Marie makes a note here. Danner still had a smile on his face, even after the bad breaks. And he should. He should absolutely be head up high with that.
That's a great comment because I said that last night to somebody that the Williams Grove, when he ran out of fuel Friday night and he still got third and had an interview, and I know how I would have interviewed, and I'm a grown ass man and he's a young man, and that guy, he was in victory lane like, man, just super thankful to be here. It sucks. We'll move on. Like, such a positive interview after the way that went, right? You lead every lap. You were dominant, and that's the way it goes down, and you lose that race. Shout out to his maturity, man, and his positive and upbeat. And I'm sure it's not always that way, but I was super impressed with that interview. As much as I've been impressed with his driving ability and what he's done this week, especially, I don't think I would have handled it that well. So, Marie, that's a great comment.
I would not have, just to confirm.
Yeah, me neither.
Just to confirm my maturity. I would have been pissed. Visibly.
Steph goes drink it to Matt Campbell, dump it to the bullshit that happened. Daniel Lee, drink it to Silver Crown, Chase Dietz, P6, CJ Leary, dump it to CJ Leary. Was it Deason Leary that got into something early, I think, on the first lap? And here he is. I'm just tired and finally got my race car washed from last Tuesday. That's another thing. That not only did they race with Carmen, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 races in 3 days, but Brett also raced with the Sportsman. Led a couple
Did he win,
laps.
though?
He did not win, but he still had a good race, still a good podium at Path Valley on Tuesday night. He's just getting his car washed tonight, so that is, this is the type of stuff when we say we know it's hard for guys to get on here on Monday nights, especially during the season, especially at this time of year when there's so much racing going on. A lot of these guys that we talk about, they're all just like they have normal jobs throughout the week. They're not just full-time drivers, full-time teams. They're doing it as a hobby at night. So this is the type of blood, sweat, and tears that you guys don't see, that you guys need to be aware of if you're not already, because this is just a microcosm of all these guys that we talk about every week we do, and I salute them for sure.
And
because
I know
that's what gives us entertainment all week.
I know I give Brett Perigo a lot of shit for not winning, but that dude grinds and grinds and grinds. He got home and forced his dad to race not long ago. from a Big Diamond, right, Jimmy? You were there.
Big Diamond. They
race
didn't get home
went-
till 3:00 in the morning, and then
and
they went
he-
out to
He straight up cleaned
Kentucky.
got his car
The
out
next
of the
morning.
box, got his dad's car in there because that's just the kind of guy he is. The Paragos, Brett and his dad do it all themselves, obviously with some other Parago help, Craig and Grandpa. But I give them a lot of shit, but much respect to them. And
Yep.
Brett starts 4th at worst on Saturday in the mega feature.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I can't
Maybe you
wait.
can finally get one in.
Oh, when he does, when I flip his race car in Victory Lane, he gave me permission. You're pointing at.
Pointing at my dog. He just joined me. What's going on?
I was Hoosier.
He's enjoying. I'm just not pointing.
You're a Hoosier sponsor guy now. Okay. Whatever, man.
Yeah, that's it. We've been on for entirely too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, to everybody for tuning in, commenting as always. We'll try to get Daison on next week. But congratulations to him on his Midget Week win and all his Silver Crown win, and a very successful past couple weeks to him. He deserves to go out and celebrate. And good luck to him in the late model tomorrow if he's testing that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Chris won't be. Might not see Chris for a little bit, but
I'll be gone. I got plane ride to the Southland.
But we'll see you guys next week, and then Speed Week coming up. So we'll see you guys at the track.